wishing you all, but especially me, a happy National Taco Day. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. No choice but get on. A mandate. You get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Right, Gina Grab?
That's right.
Handball, Brian?
No more mistakes.
Well, lots to get into today. First, some breaking news. John Hamm was on the Peyton Manning and Eli Manning show and was talking about one Dave Dameshek.
Oh, no.
Was talking about the Tom Cruise shitting out the ball incident. So,
Shut up.
So
The feud continues.
He was all over it. I guess we can show you Hamm. Is he talking about Dameshek on the first one or the Cruise one? Doesn't matter. We'll just play it. It's him with Eli and Peyton.
We're back. Niners got this one wrapped up. John, who gets kicked out of a fantasy football league?
Well, the way it used to run, it's Jimmy Kimmel's league, and we decided at a certain point, Bill Simmons is in it, Cousin Sal, we got a bunch of guys in it, and that the winner of the league would get to kick out one person at the very beginning, but you could not say who it was going to be until the day of the draft. So you had to bring all your stuff and get your laptop out and get ready to go, and then
charge timeout.
You found out if you were in or not. And for me, I remember I was coming home from Mad Men shooting, and I'm rushing to get there. I'm driving through LA traffic. I'm trying to get to whatever restaurant bar we had the draft in, and I get there and I unload my backpack and I open up my laptop and I get all my papers all settled and ready to go, and I get the Wi-Fi password and every other thing, and then the guy who had won the league the last year goes, "Ham, you're out." And so I wrap up all my stuff and I put it all back in my backpack and I go, "All right, bye guys, I'll see you next year."
I like that rule. And you won it this year.
And then we won it this year, so we were able to, and not without the significant help from number 10 there, Cooper Kupp, last year, who had a hell of a year. But yeah, we got to kick out a guy who got a little salty when we did. It was an unexpected loss for our friend Dave Dameshek, who got bounced. But he'll be back next year, maybe with a little grudge.
Charge timeout.
Well, there he is.
Okay.
By the way, growing up, if my dad was Dave Dameshek and got mentioned on Monday Night Football, that would have been the greatest moment in my history as a 10-year-old.
Dine out on that for years.
Yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah. And I know that Dave Dameshek might disagree with me and the entire population who I speak for when I say the very fact that John Hamm knows your name, you should feel
that's a win.
Certainly touched by God in some way.
You're right. On that note, Dave would have been more upset if John hadn't said his name.
True. Yes. Right.
Like, first said, we kicked out this one guy.
Some slouch.
If we just left it at that, that would have been great.
Well, speaking of not mentioning the names, Hamm also went on in this discussion with the Manning brothers to talk about the now infamous Tom Cruise and his mom football shit story.
So he was there for that?
You have to be very careful because Hamm would show up to Jimmy's house. I know for sure because I do remember one particular afternoon when Hamm was talking. I went to Hamm's house once because he said, I got this house in Hollywood. It needs this, it needs that, it needs the other. Could you just come over and just kind of walk through it and talk about it and see what direction, not that you're going to do the work, but you can kind of consult.
Yeah.
So we were talking about renovations and improvements and homes and things like that. And I do remember after one game, after the late game, when game ended at 4:30, I said, well, I'm right up the street and I'm doing a bunch of cool stuff. You want to check it out? And we just walked over to my house and I walked him through the super garage. Wow. So I know he was there for at least one. Also, the problem is when people aren't who they are at the time, they don't always register.
Right. It's out of context.
Yes. Like a John Hamm back then may not have been the John Hamm would have hit our radar.
Yeah.
He was just an actor dude from something, and, we were nice to him, but it doesn't sear in your memory of John Hamm was there. But
thank God you were nice to him.
If he says he was there because there's 25 people wandering around.
And you were shit-faced.
Yeah, I was shit-faced. And it's many actors and industry types. So
was this in the Mad Men era? I don't know when the show ran exactly.
I don't know what year it started. I was never a Mad Men guy. I heard it was a great show.
Excellent.
I never watched it. So he could have been in season 3 of Mad Men, and I didn't know or care. But now he goes on to tell the story about Tom Cruise and his mom.
John, you were just in the movie Top Gun Maverick with Tom Cruise. I heard that when you met Tom Cruise, you were actually watching a football game. Any truth to that? Is there a story behind that?
Yeah, he came over to Jimmy Kimmel's house. We used to go over there on Sundays and watch the games. And he came over one Sunday with his mom, and it was a rumor that he was coming over. And we were like, "You got to be kidding me! There's no way Tom Cruise is coming to your house on a Sunday." And then, lo and behold, about a half hour later, he shows up and hangs out and watches and eats pizza and has a whole day with us. It was great. And so cut to about 7 years later, I'm sitting on set with him. I said, "Do you remember that?" He goes, yeah, that was a great day. My mom had a good time. We had a great time. So there you go.
That's the only time he's
unexpected,
ever watched
but
football. I can't imagine Tom Cruise just like relaxing, watching football. I feel like he never has a day off.
It's not very on brand for him, but I think he was definitely enjoying himself.
Well, verification.
7 years later is really 15 years later. That was in the radio show era.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mad Men was 07 to 15.
Oh, there you go. He might have just started Mad Men then.
Yeah, and 7 years later, we're thinking Top Gun, but I don't know. Maybe they were just working on something else.
Yeah.
But either way, I don't know how much they've worked together. But yeah, that's how the mind works. For instance, I'd heard the other day that it was the 5-year anniversary of the Vegas country concert shooting.
Oh, 5 years.
5 years. That's my point.
Wow.
If I would have said 2.5 years ago, and then you would have said, "I'll tell you what, I'll give you 3," and I would have said, "I'll bet the farm it cannot be 5 years." The anniversary just the other day. All right, so I was driving. I'll get to a lot of it, but I went to Zion National Park, which is unbelievable if people haven't been there.
That's supposed to be, I've never been, the most ethereal of all the national parks.
It is magical, and I will say this for those who live in the Los Angeles area. It is in Utah, but as I was looking at Waze saying an hour and a half to Zion and then passing signs that said, I don't know, Salt Lake, 250 miles from here. Salt Lake is much further away. Zion is close.
Zion was only an hour and a half from here?
Southern Utah?
No, not.
I was like,
no.
wait a
As I was
second.
looking at Waze, meaning it was
from where you were.
250 miles from, that's the clue, Gina.
I see.
The point is
I thought the clue was, it's so accessible.
Well, it is. You can get there from here in under 7 hours, which isn't too bad of a drive. And you can get, depending on traffic, 6 hours on the way back, what with traffic. It's marvelous. It's magical. People should go there. There's 8 or 9 major trails to hike. Some go way up to the Angel's Landing, and there's cliffs, and it is. You will get an adjustment to your attitude if you go to Zion.
It looks like
adjustment to your altitude.
It looks like
amazing.
someone photoshopped you into an oil painting.
That's awesome.
It is.
Speaking of oil, we got a drill there, man.
No, that's true.
Come on.
Frack it up.
It is spectacular.
Did you go to the Angel's Landing?
Oh yeah, but it's a hike and it's steep and it takes the little. It's so funny. The guide at the bottom. You're like, how long's this hike? And they're like, 2 miles up, 2 miles down. And then they go 1 hour up, one hour down. Well, it's an hour and a half up because you are on your hands and knees at some point trying to traverse this trail and stopping every 400 feet just to fucking catch your wind. The way down is 41 minutes because you're just breezing down the slope. But it's
if you're a Sherpa and you're acclimated to the altitude, sure, maybe an hour.
It's crazy. It's spectacular. The top is, top of the world. And then there's just sheer cliffs. Like there aren't barriers.
Damn.
You do not wander too close to the
Don't get
edge.
dizzy.
It will freak you the fuck out. But it's amazing. The park is amazing. The people, it's the nicest people in the world because the only people you pass on the trail are other folks who think this would be a good idea.
Right.
And then you get super level-headed. You don't get the Karen in the Costco parking lot with their Suburban. That's my space. You get all you give is international group of
Communing
folks
with
that want to
nature.
commune with nature. So they're the nicest people in the world. It did have this weird thing, which is the place also has a spa. It's like I'm getting in a spa day, which an hour massage. So place is absolutely empty because everyone evidently wants to go convene with nature and not spend $300 indoors at
Suckers.
the spa. So I walk into the locker room. They give you the speech. Now here's a teachable moment, everyone. They give you a speech about how the code for the locker works.
Oh, yeah.
You set your own code.
Yeah, you got to push the thing.
As they're giving me the speech, I'm looking around. The place is 100% empty. I'm also thinking, who's the clientele who's rolling? We're not down at Wee Spa in Koreatown.
Petty
dare you.
theft going
We're
on.
in Zion. You know what I mean? I'm looking around and I'm immediately ignoring whatever she's talking about because I realize I'm going to fuck up the code and lock my shit in the locker and then have to come out in a towel to try to have you get me through this. And there's nobody there. There's literally not a human being. So I just go in, open the locker door, throw my junk in. Also, I do not have my phone with me because I do not want my phone with me. I have shoes, sweaty socks, sweaty underpants, and the greatest item of value is a pair of sunglasses, and I throw them all in the locker and shut the door without setting the lock code. I got 2 massages. The following day, I came back out, and there was an elderly guy standing there in his towel, and he was fighting with his lock code the entire time I was there. I mean, he literally took my point and 100% underscored it. He was a gentleman in his 70s, did not pose a threat to my sunglasses. And all I'm saying, everyone, is you got to kind of do an assessment of where you are. Now, people can go, well, so what? Take 5 minutes and do the code. You can. But I'm saying just don't leave the backpack in Oakland on the passenger seat when you go in to get some soul food. Do not do that. But if you're at the spa in Zion, don't bother with the locker.
Yeah.
Just assess.
Throw it in there.
That's
if you're
all.
at the YMCA, punch in a code. If you're in Zion, let it go.
Yeah, so this guy was struggling the entire time. Part of me wanted to say something. The other part just sort of watched him go at it.
This is my new thing, helping old people with technology. I did that
Your
at the
parents-in-law.
No, the strangers at the movie theater at the AMC Century City. They validate for 3 hours, but you got to scan it right.
That's a tough
on the
putt
scanner,
for- yeah.
and it's one of those barcode scanners.
Yeah.
It's not like swipe or whatever. And there's a woman of 60s, let's just say 60s, struggling with this thing. I can see her. I'm waiting to do mine behind her, and she's like, this thing, the
technology's
won't work.
fault.
And I'm like, I reached out my hand, like, give it here, and I just did it for a second. She's like, it's not gonna. I tried. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It was
Good.
nice.
Yes, we all need some sort
Sherpa.
of a Sherpa, technology Sherpa.
Sherpa.
The other thing I noticed as I was driving home from Zion is that you just go right through Vegas and go right on that 15 right through Vegas. And I noticed something because I never drive through Vegas. I get off at the closest off ramp and drive onto the strip. Not a good sign for Vegas. Tons and tons of billboards all along the 15 for lawyers in injuries and accidents, and then about 20% in Spanish. Not good. Just all these personal injury attorney billboards just popping up. Never. The billboards were always for, Penn and Teller and shares in town. No. It's all lawyers now, and it's all personal injury lawyers. But then I passed a couple showbiz ones, and I passed a couple magicians, and I hear of them. You usually, there's 3 magicians
Yeah.
you know, but then the rest are just the guys playing Vegas you don't know. And as I was looking at the billboard, see, you'll pass billboards that says Jerry Seinfeld is at Caesar's Palace, and you'll go, I know who that guy is. And then you'll pass another billboard that says Earth, Wind, and Fire are going to be at the Luxor, and you go,
Sure.
oh, I like those guys have hits. The billboards you can glean nothing from, magicians.
Yeah.
Because they're either standing there, just going, hi.
Wearing black.
But you can't go,
Looking
oh, that guy
mysterious.
knows what he's doing.
Pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
Or the one I saw, which is the guy spraying the cards. But I don't know how that's going to end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you could put me in a tuxedo, give me a deck of cards, and I could just spray them
I
at
could
him.
drop
52 card pickup. Yeah.
Looking very confident, spraying cards into the lens, but we don't know where those
No.
cards landed.
No.
We don't know if I retrieved them with my other hand.
If this was your card,
You don't
We don't know if
know.
that was your
We don't
card.
know.
intentional.
You can glean nothing from a magician's
Good point.
billboard.
Well put.
Unless there's Penn and Teller,
Yeah,
we
unless
go,
it's Copperfield.
oh, I like that guy.
Right.
I know that guy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I was looking at Shin Lim. He's limitless, and he's just spraying cards into the air. But again, I wasn't there at the photo shoot, but those cards could all hit the ground.
yeah.
You could have just dropped them.
Yeah,
There's not a trick inherently.
it's basically like saying, I am a lights out 3-point shooter, but you just show the ball in the air.
Leaving your
so-
hand.
Then go over the backboard.
Could have went to the first row. Could have taken out a Laker girl. We don't know. You got to do something, unknown magicians, other than spraying cards at me as I'm driving by.
Yeah.
Find us a
I
clip
need-
of Shin Lim.
I need more.
I bet he's very good.
I'm
but
sure he's
how could we
fantastic.
know?
I wouldn't know. Not
He's on
from
a billboard.
And you looking super sure of yourself is not going to cut it. All
No.
magicians do that.
Mysterious.
And the move is whatever it is you're doing, spraying cards or making something appear, you have to look at me, not you're so confident
Right.
that you can spray these cards and not even look down.
Right.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah. So I said, forget Shin Lim.
Oh, poor Shin Lim.
And got myself hooked up with a good personal injury attorney.
That's good.
Nice.
So you drove through Vegas. You know, I know a lot of dudes who couldn't do that.
Oh, no.
You have to stop
Had to
off.
make a pit stop.
We're in the studio with one.
I am not. I'm not really a gambler. I like to play a few football games over the course of the year, but I've just realized that I am not an overall winner.
It's good to know yourself.
Yes, and
Know thyself.
even though it's enjoyable to play 21 with a few drinks and your buddies, I'm all about it. But I don't have. And listen, some people do. Some people have a alcohol thing. Some people have drugs. Some people have gambling. It's a thing.
Yeah.
I
Monkey
get it.
on your back.
Yeah.
Can't win money with drugs and alcohol.
That's true.
Well, you can combine them because you can get pretty loaded
That's a
at
good
those
point.
tables. Kamala Harris had this whole equity thing that scared the bejesus out of me. She was, I think she'd been interviewed the other day, and I think she got a little off the script.
Did she laugh randomly? Nothing.
No,
you have a giggle?
she was serious about equity versus equality.
Oh,
This is a new thing. So
do tell.
equality is what we're looking for. That means everybody obeys the same laws and has the same chances.
And equity
in
is
this.
how we get there.
Equity is more of a we need to even everything out.
Right.
Tilting the playing field
Right.
one way or the
It's
other.
we got to get these fat cats to start paying their fair share so you can have something. Now,
The idea being this group's at disadvantage. Let's raise them up. To get them.
you're treating money and the entrepreneurial spirit as if it's a fish jar, a goldfish tank full of jelly beans, and that some people have taken all the jelly beans, and now it's up to 3 or 4 people just to fight over the meager jelly beans that are left, versus you go out and create your own jelly beans. Go make it. That's what this country is. So it's an interesting. So if you have the entrepreneurial spirit, the thing is this is a good country to start your own business, do your own thing, and make your own way. And there's countless examples of it. Whatever your skin color is, or whoever you pray to, or your sexual proclivities. Or there's this other argument, which is I don't have stuff because they have all the stuff,
There's finite stuff.
which is kind of flawed. We had, Oh, God, I'll think of his name in here. I keep wanting to pull this clip. Terry, the
Hatcher.
president. No, from...
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. Terry
President
Crews.
Camacho.
That's right.
Yeah, Terry Crews was in here a few...
Shit.
Yeah, shit. He was in here a few years ago going, it's not about this slice of pie, that slice of pie. Go make your own pie. And I thought, yeah, that guy's got it. But here's Kamala is talking about it as it pertains to hurricane relief.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And
All right, hold it for a second. First off, everything's of your own fucking making because it's 2022 and you're in the goddamn United States. Like this, the issues of their own. Yeah, I get it. There's poor people. You get born into a poor family. I get it. But there's an avenue out of there. It's not everything is just happening to you. You're allowed to make things happen for yourself. But anyway, she goes on to say.
Absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want people to be in an equal place, sometimes we have to take into account those disparities.
All right, so she's doing this thing with the seesaw thing with her hands. Like, hey, we're not all born in the same place, so we got to figure it out. We got to, first off, fuck right off. You are fucking with this country in a huge way. You're going to anger a bunch of people and disincentivize a lot of people from going out and getting some. Nobody's born in the same place. That's where we're at. I mean, forget about this country. You couldn't get the 14 people that are inside this building and try to figure out who was born where and into what family and what system. First
It's
off,
just an accepted premise.
that's what's.
We'll all be born.
Everyone comes to this country. My grandfather came here from Poland. He had 2 shekels in his pocket, but he was a cobbler and he started a business. That's what we're doing. We're not going to level the playing field, and also taking things from people who earn and giving it to people who don't is like saying we're going to take the homeless population, we're going to move them into the Four Seasons. Like, okay,
that's on the table.
Good luck with that. Tell me how that works out. Taking people who don't earn, don't create jobs, and then just breaking off pieces from people who do and giving it back to them is doing a disservice to the people you're giving them shit to. But it's also how all the major countries who attempted this fail and then spiral into this sort of big government mess.
So I'm just wondering where government programs come in, like SNAP or food stamps or, these types of things. I mean, these ostensibly keep people going.
Right.
So what do
in a circle, but yes.
But I mean, do you think there's any good to a government program?
I think what there is, and now what she's saying is she wants people of color to get FEMA relief first, which is insane. And then FEMA came out and said, "Don't listen to her. That's not how it works. It's not how it works." But these programs are good for a very temporary, short period until they become a way of life. So you can say to someone who's unemployed, you have 3 months to receive unemployment, but then we cut you off. Whatever, January 1st, you are cut off. Those people will then go out and attempt to get a job because they're going to get cut off.
That was the Clinton quote, a second chance, not a way of life.
Yes, not a way of life. We've turned this into a way of life. And I don't know who you're helping because now they're just on the dole and the government teat, and there they shall remain while their muscles atrophy. But anyway, be very careful about equality, which is sort of your Martin Luther King thing, versus equity, which is these fat cats got to break something off and give it to. And also, whether it's your ne'er-do-well son and you're a rich guy and you die and you leave him, why does that suggest that person's life turns out the way we'd like it to turn out? There's countless examples of that.
Peaches Geldof.
Exactly. That reminded me, the example you gave of putting homeless in the Four Seasons reminds me of your favorite, the lottery. Why do so many lottery winners go broke?
Yeah.
They came into a windfall of a huge amount of cash without developing the skills by which to manage or attain that cash.
Yes, you need to teach a man, give a man a fish eats for a day, teach him to fish eats for a lifetime. It's all in the Bible, can all be figured out. Anyway, she's fucking horrible, and she needs to shut the fuck up.
Well, can I tell you where women seem like they're making there's some equity that I wasn't personally aware of that I saw last night. So, that's right.
Hey, buddy. Equity Harris is hitting the stage.
So it was my husband and my first wedding anniversary. Aww. And by the way, went back and revisited your toast, Adam. I know you probably don't remember it because you were sleep deprived. Fucking awesome and appreciated.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was so funny. Brian, you were there. You
I remember.
Oh, okay. It was great.
It was a lovely.
It was the day. It was a little bit of a roast, which we expected. It was great. So for the first anniversary, I don't know what the terms are, whatever, but I said, "Oh, it's paper. What can I get in paper?" So I got Laker tickets. As I told Brian recently, I was over the moon. I got a great deal from a wonderful person, and I hand them to my husband, and he goes, "Oh, preseason." I was like, "Wait, what? What does that mean? What are you talking about?"
The road to hell is paved
with good intentions. So I started crying. He had to console me. He couldn't wait to go. But we had the best time. LeBron played.
My question was going to be.
He played for 15 minutes. Anthony Davis played for 15 minutes. Then little Scottie Pippen Jr. and all the little guys. It was great. We had a great time. But one thing that I was surprised by that I've never.
I'm sure he appreciates being called little Scottie Pippen.
He's a diminutive.
Okay.
He's a little guy.
He's a professional athlete.
He's a junior. He was very cute. Max Christie, all these names that I'll probably never hear for this season.
Sure.
They were great. We had a great time.
Off the roster in no time.
Right. So we had an awesome time. But the thing that I kept focusing on was one of the refs who was a firecracker. Go ahead and put up the picture.
Male or female?
You tell me.
Female.
Yeah.
She, busting her ass, running up and down, doing the whole thing. And I had never seen it before. I didn't know if it was normal. I've Googled it since. Apparently there are 6 female NBA refs. But are you familiar with this? I mean,
yes.
Do they do regular games, just preseason games?
No, they do. They're all
There's
up in
NFL
there.
refs now that are female.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
More than one. Yeah.
You could get your clut clean.
Yeah, you got to watch where you're stepping.
But
exactly.
I mean, I was just kind of curious how they were going to react to her. No different. Just it is what it was. And oh yeah, that was a cool LeBron shot.
Yeah.
We had great
that right there went into the first row.
Actually, he didn't make that basket.
The place is full.
It was full to the rafters. It was really fun. The Laker girls were even there. We had a great time. Again,
full of cheap, poor people who couldn't afford it.
Who don't love their spouse.
I was so devastated when I saw that, and we had a great time. But anyway, female ref, I'd never seen that. I didn't know it existed, and good on them.
I think it's indicative of where we're at with the society, where they go is America ready? With the first black vice president of it. If people do their fucking job well and they're professionals, then airline pilots, vice presidents, referees, all on the table. No one gives a fuck. Kamala Harris is horrible at her job. So then we give a fuck, and then you go, "Oh, you're saying it because
with a woman vice president?
She's wildly incompetent." Yes, she who is the border czar, who's been in North Korea or South Korea, but not to the border. I would say she should. I don't know how. There's got to be some sort of czar of optics, and I would
the press secretary.
I would just say, look. Kamala, the border's on, it's on the front page. People are talking about it. You're the border czar. It's been a year and a half. You've not been there. You're heading off to Korea. Let's just pop you over to the border. You get out of the plane. We'll take a couple of shots. You talk, do a little glad handing on the tarmac, and then we'll just check that box. We'll just say you've been there.
Yes.
And then when it comes up, you go, hey, you've never, I was there.
The fuck I haven't.
I got this stuffed animal. Let me show it to you.
That's right.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I thought of it when Zion pictured, glorious, by the way. Are you still doing the 1 hour a week or something new?
I'm trying to do
I know it's ambitious,
something new. I got my hand surgery, which slowed down some of the things I was trying to do because sometimes new things involve using your goddamn hands.
Pedal boat?
Couldn't throw a pot on a wheel. Couldn't surfing and stuff like that. But trying to get out. And really what you realize with this country is you don't need to go abroad, man.
No.
You hit Zion, you hit the Grand Canyon, you hit Yosemite,
Mammoth.
Man, you just go. You can do it all. You can hop in your car and do it all from here.
You know what I'd like to see you do, and you really wouldn't need your hands for, and you're already good at it. It would just be a different medium. I would like to see you learn how to walk across a tightrope.
I would do that
because that's something that's feasible for you.
Yeah, I think I could do that. And
Between
they have
two high buildings.
They have those backyard ones. I can tell
it 4 feet
you,
off the ground.
as somebody with very good balance, standing up at the top of Angel's Landing and getting next to a 2,000-foot sheer cliff and venturing toward the edge, the world starts to move a little on you. You do not.
Wow.
It affects you.
Yeah.
It affects you. And when you think about the guys who do the base jumping, you shall have a whole new respect for those guys as you peek over this sheer cliff of 2,000 feet. All right, let me tell you about Good Ranchers. Ever had a friend who was naturally talented? They just pick up a sport or a hobby, they make it look easy. Well, you can make great food look easy with Good Ranchers. They source the highest quality meat in America. Each piece is from real American farms and hand-cut and trimmed by real American workers. Pasteurized, no antibiotics ever, and no added hormones. In-house customer service team and 100% satisfaction guaranteed in every box. You want that good, high-quality American protein. Good Ranchers, well, that's where you go. Use the code Adam. You get free shipping and $30 off your first order. Visit goodranchers.com/Adam. Save on American meat, and it's delivered right to your door. This is high quality protein, and you need it. Go to goodranchers.com/Adam and get the free shipping and $30 off your first order. All right. Let's see. Amala Epinobi is going to be in here. She's young, she's talented, and she's on the Vanguard, and we'll talk to her right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
I don't know if this makes me a bad person or not, but I was rolling through the grocery store parking lot, and there was a 35-ish-year-old man with a beard wearing a camouflage shirt with a flat left rear tire in his Chevy Tahoe. I rolled my window down because he was just looking at his tire like it was going to change itself, and I said, hey, man, you know how to change a tire? He said, no, I don't. Do you? I said, yep, sure do. I rolled my window up, and I just kept going. Have a good one.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Looks like you could go for a cold one. It's a joke about a movie that was made before Amala Epinobi was born. Vacation. Good to see you, Amala.
Good to be here.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
All right, we're trying to figure that out if you're 21 or 22. Unapologetic with Amala is available on PragerU.com, and you and Dennis, I know, hook up a lot.
Yes.
He's a dear man. He's just there's a few people you think about where you go, geez, what happens when he goes? And then I go, oh God, I hate thinking about that.
Yeah,
that world.
I call Dennis America's grandfather, and we'll all be mourning. I hope he never goes.
I'm right.
Don't make him a vampire.
I'm right with you.
Disney's cryogenic head.
So your path, and do you have a BLM tattoo?
I got a Black Power fist tattooed on my arm when I was 16 years old, regrettably. So yeah, it's there.
So you grow up a single mom, very progressive,
yes.
and in a world, and I've talked about my own personal experiences with this on subsequent shows about or past shows about my grandmother being kind of a communist, my mom being, and I got a front row seat to it, and that's why I started to think about it early. I was like, I guess there's two directions you can go. You can go, I'm going to be just like mom, or you can go, I don't think this person knows what they're talking about, and
right.
Maybe they do know what they're talking about. It doesn't serve them. It doesn't seem like they're using it or they seem perpetually poor and unhappy. Maybe another route.
Yeah.
But was that your experience?
100%. I got a little bit of both, actually, of just being made super cognizant of my race and my gender from a really young age by my mother. She just happens to be white and identifies as a white ally. So I fell hook, line, and sinker for every single narrative that I was told. I wanted to be an activist, but at the same time, it brought me no happiness whatsoever in life. I was constantly depressed, constantly angry at the world, but just ran with it.
I've shout about this on a daily basis. We're going down this kind of racial road that ends in either dead end or a cliff, or maybe a train coming through the tunnel our direction. Politicians never stop beating the drum. We never stop hearing everyone talk about it. We're in 2022. We're talking about a lot more than we did in the 80s and the 90s. But to what end? Like, I don't think it's helping anyone. It's not helping the people we're talking about. It's agitating the country. Is it all just trying to get votes? I don't get what the end game is, and I don't get why we can't get past it.
I think there's multiple layers to it. I think we really are trying to reconcile some of the transgressions of our past, and I think a lot of people who run with this racialized narrative do truly feel like they're doing the compassionate thing. These people were disadvantaged for so long. The only way we take back that power is by creating a racist narrative today and having that conversation. Unfortunately, I just don't think they think through, questions like you just asked. Where does it end? When do we truly become equal? When can we acknowledge that we've accomplished that goal, and to what cost? How white people are being affected in today's day and age. If we continue down this path, it's going to be another civil rights movement on their behalf in 50 years. Where do we go?
Yeah, and also I think it's incredibly damaging to tell people that they live in a society that doesn't welcome them. Yep. I think it sounds overly simplistic, but when they do a lot of the deck is stacked against you and society stacked against you, if you said to me, well, I'm going to sit down and have a checkers game with somebody, and I went, all right, I'll give it a try. But if you said, that guy's got it out for you and he's got information that you don't have and this game is rigged, I'd go, fuck it, I'm not playing.
Of course.
I'm not even going to participate in a society that is stacked against me. And by the way, why would you if that's the way you actually thought our society was formed?
100%. And then they couple that with this idea that you have to fight this and you have to spend all your time fighting this injustice, and you need to go convince other people that they need to join in your crusade for this justice. So not only do you have little black children and little children of color going, oh my gosh, they're telling me I'm disadvantaged. Not only can I not see it, but I don't truly feel it, but you're telling me it exists. And then you have these little white kids going, what advantage? What are you talking about? I've got a single mom just like Jimmy's got a single mom, and I'm dealing with the same struggles that he's dealing with, but we have a different skin color, and you're telling me that our lives are unequal because of that and because of that alone. It's inherently harmful. There's nothing good about it.
Yeah, also in America, whenever they trot out this phrase, they go, scared of people who look different than you. I just want to go, oh, shut up. That's all America is people that look. You could never climb into another Uber as long as you lived if you were, in fact, scared of people who looked or sounded or were from a different land. It's this crazy theme that they never stop beating this drum. And I people think I'm kidding, but the real white privilege, like my actual white privilege, is not having to get involved with any of this horse shit. Like, I don't have to join a group. I'm going to fucking Zion with the rest of the blue-eyed people, and we're going to hike a fucking mountain. You guys go down to the city and protest some shit that's never going to change because you can't, because you're talking about something that doesn't exist.
But honestly, I think they feed off of it. When I was an activist, as much as I hate to admit it now, I loved finding new stories of injustice. I love having something to wake up in the morning and to scream about and to yell about. And as much as they come to the table and go, this is wrong with America, I don't know what their lives would be if they couldn't find something to scream and cry about.
Well, how did you extricate yourself from that cycle?
And what does your mom think of it?
Oh, well, my mom still to this day has dedicated her career to leftism, so she's like not very proud about it.
You're the Alex P. Keaton. I don't think she knows what that means.
I don't know what
Family
Alex
Ties reference.
Yeah, he was the one Republican in the progressive family.
Ah, okay.
Old sitcom.
Yeah, I'm very much sort of the black sheep in that sense. My mom has grown to be proud of what I do just because she really has no other choice. But as far as how I remove myself from that situation, I think I surrounded myself with it so much that it just couldn't help but see the hypocrisy that was right in front of my face. And as I said earlier, my mother was white. I was raised by the white side of my family. So I was going into work and hearing all this horrible rhetoric about white people. White people are dogs. They have no place in our history. They have no place in our modern times. They shouldn't have a place in the conversation. And then I was going home to this white family that had taken care of me my entire life, despite my skin color, and had to go back to work every single day and hear one thing and live a life that told me the exact opposite. And when I confronted them with the idea that, hey, maybe we're wrong about, white people all being horrible and racist, they told me I didn't know how oppressed I was. Yeah.
Where were you going into work? Like a Jamba Juice in Santa Monica?
You know what? I wish it was a Jamba Juice in Santa Monica. I was actually hired as a youth organizer for a left-leaning organization that was working on things like women's reproductive rights, the fight for open borders, the fight for 15. I fully immersed myself in that world. I was knocking doors. I was staging protests. I was speaking to crowds about this sort of stuff. Didn't know anything about what I was talking about, but just knew the general talking points.
As a fight for 15, we're talking about voting? What are we talking about?
The $15 minimum wage in Florida.
Oh, the 15. Yeah, because we've shot past that.
Right. California's like a 15 who?
15. So it's interesting. I think the problem is this. If you would like to find examples of white cops shooting black men, you shall find those examples. Then you can also find plenty of examples of white cops shooting white men and black cops shooting white men, and you can find all the examples. It's just out there. Mm-hmm. And then you can start going, well, let's talk about numbers. And you can talk about statistics and crime and violent crime and interactions with police, and there's a multitude of them. And then the theme starts to fall apart, except for if people like a younger version of you or whomever the news outlets are perpetuating the theme, well, then that's where we're going to be. So if I always talk about Shaver, I think his last name was.
Daniel?
Yes, I think so, who was executed by the police, because Mark Garagos finally is making some headway in that story. But we won't get into it other than it was a young white guy being executed by police, not struggling with the police and snatching the pepper spray and rolling around in the parking lot of the Wendy's after they passed out in their car.
On his knees saying, what do you want me to do?
On his knees begging for his life, and he was smoked. He was just literally killed. Horrifying. But if CNN would take that story and really run with it, then we'd have a way to calibrate ourselves. But if they're going to ignore that story and then beat the shit out of Breonna Taylor every 5 seconds, then young people are going to go, well, this is where we're living. Right. And it's been super effective. It has worked perfectly. Now everyone is super agitated and thinks this is the society we're living in. The same way if all they did was focus on shark attacks, no one would ever go back into the ocean.
It's crazy, and all it does is just infuse a bit of anger into everybody's lives and infuse division into their lives. It does nothing to solve the actual issue. If we all came to the table and these news organizations came out and said, hey, guys, let's talk police brutality, an issue that affects everybody, if we really think about it, if we really look at the numbers, if we really look at the stats. Instead, they go, no, it's disproportionately black. That means it's racism. That means the issue we should be focusing on is racism. And we never get to the root of the problem. We never solve an issue that's going to continue to impact people for generations to come because we've decided to simply veer off and focus on something that is probably not at the heart of this issue.
Well, as we were playing the Kamala Harris clip talking about equity and equality and all the nonsense that pours out of her mouth, look, the ultimate thing, if you want to talk about, we're not all born in the same place. Yes, not everyone is born in the exact same tax bracket. Understood. That's how societies work. You want to help the lower class people, keeping parents in the house, dad in there, that's the ultimate gift you can give to a kid. And when I say gift, I mean statistically. If regardless of all the other things, statistically, having two parents and having a dad stay at home and keep the family intact is the best thing you can do in terms of prognosticating the outcome of this young person being successful. There's a few things. There's, don't have any kids until you get married, graduate, don't have any kids until you graduate high school and or college. Keep that. There's three basic sort of diet and exercise things that are, when I say diet and exercise, I just mean you want to lose a few pounds, fucking stop drinking soda and hit the road and start walking, like really basic nuts and bolts shit. These race hustlers talk about wanting to have an honest conversation and a seat at the table, and then they just go off on police departments. The police show up at the end of the journey. The system shows up at the end. The incarceration, the DAs, the whatever. The toughest you could live in a town with the toughest on-crime DA on the planet. Don't run a fucking foul of the cops and the DA. Don't commit any crimes. You're not going to have any interactions with these people. But they take what's at the end and they try to solve what's at the end and never want to discuss the beginning.
Right.
And that's where I'm fucking crying bullshit. Because if you guys want an honest conversation, then we'll have this conversation. And then they go, well, that's a racist conversation. And then I go, well, do you care about black people or not?
And I truly think that they do. And I struggled with it for so long, coming out of that mindset and going, wait a second, you guys don't really care at all. If you really cared, you'd be focusing on this, this, and this. But the race narrative is super easy because, like you said, you get to the end of the road, you get to the horrible outcomes, and race is a really easy thing to see. I can watch a video of some sort of police brutality situation playing out, and I can see white cop and I can see black guy, and my mind can immediately make up that narrative and push it out to people. It's so much harder to go, well, what led this guy down this path? Was he raised in a two-parent household? Did his parents read to him? Did he get a good education? And how do we fix the root of those problems, which is much more extensive than going, no, white guy, black guy.
Yeah, by the time we're talking about non-lethal interventions, rubber bullets and pepper, we're way too far down the line because you're now wrestling with a cop in a parking lot and you're sorry. Maybe you live, maybe you don't, but you've kind of jumped the shark. I want to get to the part before the part where you feel like it's a good idea to wrestle with the cops. Also, banging the drum constantly that the cops are out there to kill you would then cause more wrestling with cops.
Yes, absolutely.
I would tend to want to wrestle with a cop if I thought he wanted to execute me.
Yeah, I got pulled over by a police officer when I was knee deep in this stuff, and I had the most terrifying experience of my life simply because of what I was told. I grew up hearing the stories of Eric Garner and Philando Castile and Tamir Rice, and had convinced myself and been told by multiple people that had I ever had a run-in with a police officer, it was going to go poorly. Prepare yourself, get your phone camera running, get your hands on 10 and 2. And I'm here, this terrified girl, when all I needed to be told was, you treat them with respect. You're most likely going to get treated with respect and everything's going to go fine for you. And that moment just shattered my perception of police officers for a really long time and led me down this search of like, wait a second, how is the media saying all of this stuff? And then the experience is so different.
How do you see a turn? I know there are people like Candace Owens, and I know there's people like yourself, and Kanye West was wearing his White Lives Matter blazer, whatever.
with multiple pictures of the Pope on the front.
Oh, I didn't even see the front.
Yeah.
And then there's these things where it's like you have, you take Trump and you take Biden. So you have Trump saying, hey, if you're black, vote for me. What do you got to lose? And everyone goes nuts. But I think he meant it. He was like, you're not, why not? Why not try? Why not go to the bullpen and try something else? Because this ain't working. And then you have, Biden saying, man, if you ain't black, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And the Hispanics are starting to drift out of the kind of plantation. Not that they, well, actually, they do a lot of harvesting of fruits and vegetables. They're starting to drift out for just sort of pragmatic reasons. Like, hey, we're kind of religious and we don't care that much about abortion, but we do care about jobs and we do care about safe streets. And they're starting to drift that way. I don't know where the black community is. I don't know if they're starting to sort of Blaxit. Is it Blaxit? Trying to think.
Blexit, yeah. The Blexit, as Candace termed. I think there is a little bit of that. I think what we have right now is just an issue of labels. You talk to most Black Americans about their core values or how they want this country to be run, and the words coming out of their mouth are pretty blatantly conservative. But then you ask them, well, how do you feel about voting for a Republican, or how do you feel about voting red? Oh no, the red they hate Black people. They're racist. They're bigoted. They're the ones who ushered in Jim Crow, and you'll hear all these sort of lies start to percolate into the conversation. And I have a feeling that now the narrative's sort of being flipped on its head, and Black people are realizing, oh, wait a second. The things that I'm saying are really conservative. And now that we have a Democratic administration right now, my life isn't looking too hot. The economy isn't looking too hot. I'm walking out my front door, and life is not as good as it was a couple years ago. And I think a lot of people are starting to Blexit, as you said before.
Is there, for you personally, your mom aside, and there's no greater champion for the Black community than the sort of middle-aged single white mom. They are.
We would be
more,
led to believe if you're on Instagram and you follow certain
They are
accounts.
way more into that than any Black mama I've ever come across. So your mom must be knee deep into this. But what about other people, friends, former friends? Now you have a lot of new friends, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It was just sort of a light switch turned on where I said, hey guys, I think I might be a conservative. And then all these people just slowly exited my life. And some of them without even a conversation. They just saw videos that I was putting out on the internet and went, oh, I think this is disgusting, and just blocked me and never talked to me again. And the few who stayed are now stronger friends than ever, who sort of watched me go through this transitional phase in my life, which I really don't think is that crazy of a thing. I think a lot of people start out pretty liberal and left leaning in their early years, and realize once they get a little bit further down the line that, hey, I am getting a paycheck now.
You're 22 in the early years.
You know what I mean?
Comparatively.
I guess I was thrown into this from a really young age. I was having political conversations when I was like 8 years old because of my mom.
Yeah, but it brings about a question, which is, I saw what was going on like inside of my family, and instead of it's sort of like that thing where, I don't know what the stats are, but if you're a woman and your dad's an alcoholic, then 8 out of 10 are going to end up marrying an alcoholic. But then 2 go, I've had a front row seat to alcoholism and what that's like at home and domestically, and I want no part of it. So 2 don't do it. And I'm always curious, biologically or from an evolutionary standpoint, why is it just 20%? Why the 80 attracted to what they know? Like there was something in your head and something in my head that looked at our families and went, I don't think these people know what they're doing. And they do seem perpetually miserable. And they don't, they're sitting home going, oh, look at that guy in his yacht. Look at that guy in his jet ski. Look at that guy in Aspen skiing. Like, yeah, I'd like to be that guy for a change, instead of the guy who's saying he's miserable, watching him on TV or hearing about the family that could afford the vacation. But what is it in you, and can you even identify it, that you had that ability, sort of like Dave Rubin did this, know, where he just sort of looked around and he went, how is it that everyone who disagrees with us over here at the Young Turks is a racist? How's that even mathematically possible? But what is that? And maybe it's not nurture. Maybe it's nature, but I don't know if it's nature in you either, that you woke up to that.
I don't know. I'm honestly starting to feel like maybe it's just a nice piece of luck that befell me, but I have no idea. And I think what's similar with the stories that I have, and similarly Dave Rubin and probably you, is you get this moment of just being utterly dumbfounded and maybe a little bit of despair, looking at where you're at and looking at the situation that's just happened right in front of your face and going, oh, wait a second. I can either face this right now and own up to the fact that I might be wrong here and I might have led my life down the wrong path, or I can blind myself and continue down the path that I'm on. And it's really hard to look back and go, I was wrong, or I didn't know that, and I said it anyways, and I went for it, and I dedicated my life to this stuff. And I think so many people are more comfortable just ignoring the fact that that ever happened.
Well, where do you come down? See, my feeling is, why not go kind of the Bill Maher route? And I know a few people this way, which is you get to cherry pick your stances. I think the problem is once you're labeled conservative or once you're labeled progressive, then you get forced into a pretzel. You get twisted into pretzels because you get forced into taking stances that are unreasonable, right or left. I was always like, consensual crimes, knock yourself out. Gay marriage, don't care. Legalize pot. Legalize abortion. Pick a number, 15 weeks or 20 weeks or whatever, just cut it off there. Otherwise, go do what you want. And by the way, lower the taxes, stop the regulation, and beef up the border. So then I got to do whatever I wanted to do. But for you, now you've jumped into the conservative, Barca lounger. Do you have to go all in, or are you allowed to be more nuanced on things?
Luckily, I'm allowed to be more nuanced in things. And I think for a second there, I almost fell into the hole of, if this side's wrong, then this side must be totally right, because we're tribalistic individuals and we love to just jump from group to group. But I'm very similar to you. A lot of the things you just said resonated with me. The consensual crime. Okay. Legalize pot. Okay, I don't really mind those things. I don't feel the need any longer to just sort of tribalistically represent one side of people. And of course, I'm sure that pisses people off. I'm sure it pisses some conservatives off when you say things that maybe they disagree with. But at the end of the day, I'm just looking for having conversations with other rational, reasonable people. And wherever it leads, it leads. I don't care which side is the right side.
I have found, getting back to the very friendly Dennis Prager. He's an exquisitely religious guy, and I'm like, I'm an atheist, and he's like, good, let's go to dinner. You know what I mean? So I feel like most people give you some leeway and some room, and I would hope it'd be nice if that was true on the other side as well, where you could go, I'm down with this subject, I'm down with that subject, but the fucking border's a mess, and I want the National Guard sent there, and they need to build a wall. And they went, okay, that's your opinion, but that's enough to get you kicked out of the party.
You're absolutely right. It is completely all or nothing. And I remember when working for the organization that shall not be named, I walked in every day and started to have little dissident opinions of, that sounds really radical, or that sounds very extreme. I'm not sure that I can agree with that. So utterly scared to say that out loud, did not want to be exiled, did not want to be shunned, did not want to be pushed away. And I think a lot of people are feeling that pressure right now, especially with things like cancel culture and censorship and their friends having conversations about getting rid of the toxic right-wing individuals in their lives. You express one opinion that's dissident to what is the leftist package, and you get thrown out. And I like to think that most left-leaning people are not these extreme, wokesters, and I think that's true. I just feel as though the wokesters are the people dominating the conversations right now and sort of shining a light on their ideology, and people are done with it.
Well, what the wokesters are doing is the same thing that, trying to think, Scientology. The same thing Scientology did 20 years ago when you were 2. And more, because I dealt with them.
Yeah.
And there were people just went, they will destroy you. Now, they couldn't, because there's many more reasonable people than there are Scientologists. But just the fear of being destroyed, people would say it all the time, don't fuck with them. They will destroy you. And it just became
lore.
Became lore. The Candyman or the Boogeyman, or don't mind the wizard behind the curtain. And then they had probably a 25-year run of just going, there's this many Scientologists, which is, you could fit into one large SUV, and then there's the rest of America who are like, these guys are batshit crazy. Yep. But there was enough lore around them of they will destroy you, and it got a lot of people to zip it. So you had a lot of people, and they were like, you agree with Scientology? He's like, I don't agree with it, but I'm not saying shit. Like, I don't want to be destroyed. And then people started speaking out, and turns out they didn't have the ability. They have the ability to pick you off one by one. Yes. But if everyone just en masse goes, done with Scientology, going to speak out against it, they can't control that. And then you get to a critical mass. And that's kind of where we're at with Scientology. And I feel that way about like hard left deplatforming. If everyone just kind of steps up in unison and says enough of this, they can't police it.
Yeah, the issue is that nobody wants to be the one that you were talking about and referring to. And we're now living in an age where everybody's connected globally, and you're seeing even the likes of celebrities being brought down by this small group of super angry people. And I think average, everyday Joe Schmo people are watching that happen and going, oh my gosh, if this huge celebrity can be brought down and lose every single brand deal, lose their livelihood, lose their platform, what's going to happen to me if I go and say something? So we do have, I think, maybe an issue with courage or apathy, and people don't care enough and don't want to lose what they have in order to fight what's going on right now.
How are you being treated? Because there are, so as I've studied the left, they hate people like Dennis Prager, but they hate Candace Owens more because that's one of their own, or somehow they've claimed her because of the color of her skin or something. She's one, she should know better. She's Uncle Tom or Benedict Arnold or whatever. So they hate the people that cross over even more than they hate these sort of old school guys. Sure. But Candace Owens is gritty and edgy and agitates and does, she speaks her mind, and she's a provocateur and so on and so forth. She's kind of the Black Ann Coulter or something. You come across as much more gracious and soft around the edges, and you have a smile and a laugh, and you don't feel nearly as intense. But on the other hand, you are a black woman who's crossed over. So how are you treated?
I get a little bit of both. I think the initial reaction that people have to me anytime I speak is, you're a coon, you're an Uncle Tom, you're a race traitor, hand me your black card back. And then they listen for a little bit longer, and I get into stories where I say, hey, I totally understand with what you're seeing right now, with how social media is affecting your life, why you believe the things that you believe, because I was you. I was the person who would have called myself a coon or an Uncle Tom. Can I lead you down a different path? You don't have to agree with me by the end of it. In fact, if you disagree with me, I'd love to talk to you even more. And let me show you where I landed, and then we can have a conversation. And I think what is lacking right now in much of the political discourse that we're having is understanding. We look at people who are extremely radical, and we go, you're indoctrinated, you're brainwashed, I could never be you, you're stupid. And in my perspective, I go, yeah, I could totally be you. I, in fact, was you, and I totally understand why you believe what you believe. Here's why I just think something different now. And that happens to resonate with people on the opposing side of things.
Good. Steps in toward the light.
Fine.
All right. Let me hit Blinds Galore here. Blinds Galore is turning 24. They're older than you are. Celebrate them and take off 50% your whole order during their huge birthday sale. Doesn't get any better than this. Order your samples today and take 50% off custom blind shades during Blinds Galore birthday sale before it ends October 11th. Family owned and run. I think it's a mother-daughter team. First place to buy custom blinds, and you have the online design. You can buy them online, I should say, and you get that designer look without the designer price. Do it right from your home. Just take the measurements and customize it online. Their Build a Blind tool lets you see exactly what they're going to look like on screen before you buy. I use these guys. Drew uses these guys. We use them over here. I use them at home. Even blinds and shades, you can hit their link and use your smartphone to do the motorized blinds and shades. And or you can use Amazon Alexa. It's Blinds Galore, right, Dawson?
Blinds Galore birthday sale is going on right now, and everything is up to 50% off. Check out blindsgalore.com and let them know that Adam sent you. That's blindsgalore.com.
Amala, when are you going to see Prager next?
Oh my goodness. When is the next time I see Dennis? We have our PragerU Gala happening next month, but I'll probably see Dennis in between then. He likes to pop by the office every now and then and say hello.
Give him my love. Unapologetic with Amala, available at PragerU.com and streaming on YouTube. TJ Miller's going to come in here and tell us all about his new stand-up special, which I watched and enjoyed. So we'll talk to TJ Miller right after this.
The Adam Carolla Show presents TJ Miller's birthday cocktail party for June 4th. Let's see who's invited. First up, we welcome King George III. Time to widen the doorway. The former fattest man in the world, weighing in at 1,091 pounds. American Robert Earl Hughes. USA, USA. American actor John Barrymore is here. Bruce Dern just joined the party. From the Mamas and the Papas, Michelle Phillips. Actor Keith David is here. Comedian Rob Hubel. And that's pretty much it. You got a king, a fat guy, and a few actors. TJ Miller on the Adam Carolla Show.
TJ in the
Angelina
studio.
Jolie was one of them.
Oh, really?
But they're not. That's not as funny.
Is she on there?
I didn't see her. I could have missed her.
We got to check our staff on that one. Dear Jonah is the name of the comedy special. I watched it in its entirety last night. Very funny. Full special available for free on YouTube. It is out as we speak. Jonah was a special heckler.
A special kind of individual.
And the show took a turn. I think you were talking about cargo shorts or cargo pants.
Yeah, that's right. Cargo pants.
And a voice rang out from the audience.
And so what happened, and that I love so much, is that, I mean, you've taped specials, and you go in there and I taped 4 shows in Nashville, Tennessee, and you hope that you'll get that one audience, that one show that's going to be the foundation of the special, and that you're going to sort of, cherry pick from the other shows and then put it all together and kind of Frankenstein a special. Mm-hmm. That's what I was expecting to do. Is going to be called the Pandemic Special. And what ended up happening is, and this is so ironic because it is kind of, it's ironic because it happened second show Friday. So we all know that the second show Friday is the most difficult show. And in Nashville, Tennessee, I expected it to be. Nashville, Tennessee is a bachelorette party that has a city inside of it, right? That's all it is. Yes. And so I kind of figured, look, this second show, it might go off the rails. If so, then I'm just going to riff, and then we'll get that on with 6 cameras. And the director said, no, really, we didn't get in this first show. You only got 3 more. Can you just do your set? I said, well, that's not who I am. So we'll see. And then, Adam, I walked out for the second show Friday expecting it to just be drunk, and it was an amazing audience. All of a sudden I go, this is the best audience. The special is going to be this, I think. And this is the audience. And then some guy in the front row started heckling. And I'm like, oh God, this is awful. I said, I'm just gonna ignore him. But then he kept heckling, but it was like that heckle where you're so drunk that you forget there are other people there, and you're just with TJ Miller in your own living room, and so he's kind of talking to me, but out loud, like, that's true. I've had that experience.
All right.
And he goes, oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I agree. And so finally I go, all right, I just got to engage him. And I say to him, so you're wearing cargo pants. What kind of cargo are you carrying? What's your haul? What's your freight?
Right.
And he answers as to why he's wearing cargo pants. And it's this long, elaborate answer where he's really stuttering kind of. And immediately you realize, oh, this guy is not drunk. He is developmentally challenged. He's special needs. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that people would be upset that we're even saying it that way. I know you love the culture that's all worried about ableism.
No one who listens.
Neurodivergent.
And I think it's my neuropsychologist. She said to me, no, we don't call them special needs anymore. We call them intellectually deficient.
Oh, that's
I was like,
really
that's
offensive.
awful. That's worse. Well, doesn't work.
I don't like
I think
that.
that one's so awful because it's like he's a little slow. No, he stopped. He is currently not moving and never will.
It's waiter and server, Negro black. I mean, some of the stuff's a lateral move at best.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't get.
But it's so
deficient.
Anyway, all I knew
intellectually.
was that suddenly we have this guy, and and everybody immediately knew. They're like, "Oh my God, this guy is autistic or Down syndrome, whatever." And there's so much tension in the room because they were like, "What's TJ gonna do?"
Yeah,
TJ's in Ehrlich in Silicon Valley. He's famous for the Deadpool, making fun of how Ryan Reynolds looks. Is he gonna make fun of this? So I just headed off at the pass, and I go, I want you guys to know that I am not going to make fun of him at all. And it's this huge laugh because all the tension is broken.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of interact with him and it's fun and I call him, but then he interrupts me again. So I kind of incorporated him to the show. And then I started to incorporate him more. And then he would ask the question. And then he had the funniest line. I said, "What's your favorite part of the special?" And he said the funniest thing possible. And at the end, the closer is him and me kind of, fucking with like another guy that was sort of the villain of the show named Trevor. Perfect name for a villain in the audience. And it became, the show was about lifting this guy up and about how it's just that night. And I think the luckiest thing about it is it really shows me as a stand-up comic because like you, I'm going to improvise, I'm going to go off, I'm going to talk with the audience, I'm going to talk about what happened that day to me or an experience I had in that particular city. And so I just realized this is not a pandemic special anymore. This is about Jonah. And so I said, well, we got to name it Dear Jonah. We thought of different stuff, but yeah. And I think it's great.
It is great. And obviously, it can't be planned that he was in the audience.
No.
So
I mean, how insane would I be?
Well,
I was like,
the way stand-up...
Crazy like a fox.
Yeah, crazy.
The way stand-up
like
specials
an evil fox
work is you go out and work that material for a few years, and then boom, it's in a...
Exactly.
It's almost like you're reading a teleprompter by the time you're ready to shoot the special because you've worked the material so hard. But then this curveball named Jonah shows up in the first row on front of the club. And so then you watch it and it all has to be genuine in real time. Did you talk to Jonah after the show? Have you talked to him since the special came out?
I mean, but in the, and he was a huge fan. I would find afterwards that he came, his parents dropped him off, and he was there at 4 p.m. alone waiting in line because he loved me so much in Deadpool, which he talks about in the special. But also he said to me, I came and saw your stand-up before, but I was way in the back. I was in the balcony. And he said it was so good. So I knew I had to come back and I had to be up in the front row. And so he was literally the closest person to me. When I looked at it, he was at a stage that he had them push against the stage.
He was on a table.
Yeah, a table that he pushed. The table is some ways the stage for drinks.
Yeah, I guess
it's their place to shine.
Sometimes a footstool.
It's their footstool. I put drinks on a footstool. That's the foot stage. And so he was just that intensely excited about. So it was the most amazing thing. He was just so excited. And I said, we're going to cut it up and put it together. And he was just so excited. And then at the end of the special, if you see the end of the special, he kind of talks about it. And then he teases me a little bit. He's like, you're still pretty funny, even though your HBO special wasn't good, kind of is what he was saying. And then he kept looking at his watch. And I went in to say something else. And he's like, all right, man, I'll see you later. And kind of tapped me and was like, yeah, I've had enough of this fucking conversation. I've got stuff to do. I need to get home and look at videos of dogs. Because he loves dogs.
You're saying dogs because I was thinking about dogs because I think I love seeing my dog because my dog just likes the fact that I'm there. There's not much attached to it other than I'm here, you're here, we're here. Let's get a little tail wagging going.
Yeah, it's like the Norm Macdonald Hitler had a dog that was so excited.
That's right.
Yeah, so excited. So excited. And then we respond to it because there's kind of a purity to it. Like,
it's authentic.
For sure.
Yes, it's just there.
Yeah.
And in a way, I think in a time, especially now when everyone's up in their head and they're angry tweeting at everyone and stuff like that.
And self-conscious and anxious.
This guy like Jonah just seems pure. Like he's just there.
He
wants
is.
to laugh.
You know we're fucked when the buzzword of the day, when you see it all over Instagram, it's so wholesome. Like that's a word that we're just striving for something that's just sweet and not going to fuck with our heads later.
But I tell me if this is shifted. Like you can tell me. Like there was a time when I felt sorry for the dog and Jonah. Now I'm kind of envious.
Oh, I've always
that
been
guy
envious.
gets to just wag his tail and go right on through his life.
No, you always
dog,
have
too.
to be envious. I mean, that ignorance is bliss. It's like you look at a cat and you're just like, God, you don't give a fuck about anything.
Live in the
You
moment.
don't give a shit about any of this stuff. The only thing you care about is being the right temperature. That's
Yes.
your whole life.
It's all temperature.
Is just figuring out how to be in a situation that is the perfect temperature for you.
Yes.
But I think that here's what was so pure about it.
How old is Jonah?
You see this? I think he's in his like late 20s. You know what I mean? He's still a young guy, but he's definitely not like in his mid 30s or something. But a couple of times, I react to it. But there's one time when I finish doing a bit and people finish laughing, and then he looks around and then he's like, hilarious. Because he is. He's like, that's hilarious. Of course we're going to say it,
Right.
And so he's also not inhibited by like social mores or the constraints of people going like, you don't talk during this thing. Because in his mind, he's like, well, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying it's hilarious. And so I also think it's funny that I was so cynical that all of us would have been to think, oh, this guy's drunk and he's interrupting the show and he's going to fuck up my stand-up special. And then it ends up being that it's actually his stand-up special and he wasn't drunk and he was not fucking up anything. In fact, he made it possible for me to do a special that's different. I mean, if I was just another white guy who released a stand-up special, even if it was amazing and different and nose flute and all that kind of stuff, then I don't know that it could get a
plays the
ton
nose
of...
flute.
What?
In it. Nose flute.
Yeah, nose flute.
I just want to let the audience who hasn't
Seen
experienced it yet to know
Who
that you
hasn't
play,
played a nose
you
flute.
play the nose flute in it. Yeah.
So I, thank goodness it's like, it is something it's never been done before and it'll never be done again. And so it's amazing that we kind of caught that particular, but it's cool. And people have been saying, not wholesome, but they've been like, it was really great at the end. It was really touching. And I think that is fun. And, it's something, I put it this way. Kate kept saying over and over.
Your wife.
Yeah. Kate kept saying over and over. She goes.
Supplied you with a nose flute.
She did. And then, the face shield.
Yes.
The very subtle face
Another
shield.
part of the special.
And she said, well, this really shows the shape of your heart. And I say, that sounds fucking stupid, Kate. Take that goddamn language outside the apartment. God damn it. But she's kind of right. And it is really fun to have a special where you're like, man, this guy's like a good dude.
How much of your life is stand-up now versus writing, acting?
There's been an interesting turn of events just in the last 3 months, but I'm sort of all in on stand-up and also trying to build, even just with social media stuff, trying to build an understanding in America that I'm a stand-up comic, because so many people I think are I'm famous to them because of my acting. And so I think so many people just don't know, and they're not following me on social media, so they just don't know, or they see an Instagram ad for me doing stand-up and they're like, well, maybe that's a Jeremy Piven thing. Maybe
One of
that's
those
just, he's an
crossovers.
actor. Yeah. So I don't want to waste my money just to go see him as a person. So I've really been focused on that and shot, I think I talked to you about this, it's sort of an unprepared thing. I shot it's kind of like your show that we did on the Daily Wire, where I got names of jokes from the audience and then I see them and improvise the bit right there in front of the audience. And they see the name of the bit for the first time also. So I was doing that to try and get some stuff together for online content. Then I said, let's just shoot a special. So I actually shot 2 completely separate hour specials in 3 weeks.
How's the YouTube treating you, and is that kind of where we're heading? And I discuss this with a lot of comedians, which is there was, people wanted to get on Showtime, then they wanted to get on HBO, then they wanted to get on Netflix,
Right.
and then now there's a kind of wild west of shoot your shit, put it out.
I
People
think
will
it's
find
great.
it if it's good.
I think it's great. And I also, because of connections in Hollywood and work that I've done before, like on the Gore Burger show, I sort of was able to find my way to a director who's amazing, because you saw it, it looks great.
Yeah.
And but could do it really cheaply. And so I said, well, then let's shoot 2 of them. If you can do it for this cheap, let's shoot 2 of them. I had 2 hours, probably more, banked. And so I did a special called The Philosophy Circus in Tampa 3 weeks after I did Dear Jonah in Nashville. And I think that was just something I had to do. I've got the other one in the can. I'm going to release that probably in March, and then I'm going to shoot another special in March. So that's how much work I'm doing with my stand-up right now. But then out of the blue, this huge production company was looking like huge, like involved in Marvel, stuff like that. They were looking for a Christmas movie, and my buddy, out of the blue, months before I found this out, had an idea for a Christmas movie. And he told me, and you know when somebody goes, like we were in an actual elevator, and he was the husband of my wife's friend. So you know how if those people, you're always kind of being forced by the women to be like, you guys should be friends. You should work on something together. And he's incredibly funny, but he's a composer. He writes rock operas. He's a musician. And I was in the elevator, and his wife says, Jay, you should tell TJ your idea for a Christmas movie. And I said, oh, shit. I was just like, fuck. Now 20 minutes of my life is gone. He's going to have some stupid idea for a movie. And he kind of didn't want to, but then he goes, yeah, it's actually a Christmas movie. And then I was like, oh, well, great. There goes 40 minutes of there are no good Christmas movies. That's why there's only been like 4 good ones in the last 50 years. And so he tells me the idea for the Christmas movie. I'm like, that's the fucking greatest idea I've ever heard in my life. That's
Really?
So fucking unbelievable. But when he told me, I said, I mean, great. That's so awesome, but I have no one to pitch it to. And I've been in a Christmas movie already.
Which one was your
So I
Christmas
can't
movie?
go to Office Christmas Party.
That's right.
And so I can't go to Steven Spielberg and say I have an idea for a Christmas movie, because he's like, yeah, we already put you in one. So then I find out that this production company, these huge, powerful directors, were looking for a Christmas movie. And I said, this is fucking insane. And so I went and I kind of soft pitched it, and then they gave us like a real pitch. We did that at the end of June. They loved it. And now just at the end of September, they kind of said, hey, we can't give you the budget that I think you would have wanted, but if we give you this budget, which is a mid-range studio budget, it's crazy, then, if you can reimagine it like that, then we'll do the movie with you. And I'm the star of it also. So I'm writing it and I'm starring in it. And it should be really amazing. And you know this as much as anybody, except you produce most of your films. There, from pitch to premiere, there's 1,000 ways the movie cannot be made.
Sure.
And really only a few ways that it will be made. And so we have no idea what's going to happen. But this one feels like a lot of things are lining up in a way I know these directors from the beginning of my career. I kind of, we were going to pitch it to Michael Bay, but he was kind of giving me the runaround. And so then then he wanted to hear it, and I was kind of blew him off because that doesn't really make sense. And then we're pitching it to somebody who works with Seth MacFarlane, but it's not an animated thing, but it could be puppets. And so there's other options, but it's really this particular production company that's interested in doing it. That I think we want to do it with. And so I'm really, really excited. So I think that's going to be the deal, because I wrote a limited series about the pandemic, which is great. And I think I'm going to make that because it's so cheap. It's just one location. So that I'm going to do. But right now, the majority of my anything, film and television, all of that focuses on this one movie.
How's your Ryan Reynolds relationship? Or do you have one? I worked with him on Two Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place.
Yeah.
I think of 200 million years ago.
Yeah.
I found him to be the nicest guy ever, but that was pre-celebrity.
It was pre-celebrity. I got
Ryan
along
Reynolds.
a lot better with him on the first Deadpool.
Oh, really?
because he wasn't a huge movie star. He was sort of a movie star who'd kind of struck out a few times. Most notably with Green Lantern.
In a world where you don't get usually more than one bite at the apple, I mean, we've talked about it before, but they will let you, they'll make you the star of a movie, and if that movie doesn't perform, that's normally it.
That was your shot.
It doesn't have to be your fault. It just is. And he got a lot of bites at the apple. He did a lot of movies.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because he's so handsome?
I think he's handsome. I think he's very talented, and
he's very funny.
I think people were able to kind of separate him from the art, from the project, when normally you just get lumped in with the project, and then that's sort of, and also Hollywood does a lot of like, you make a volcano movie and it dies at the box office, no more volcano movies for the next 50 years. And it's like, although 2 came out in the same year. But what I'm saying is you make a movie. I was doing Top Gear for ABC when they inexplicably relaunched Knight Rider. Like Knight Rider 2.0. David Hasselhoff, Part 2, talks to his car. And everyone was looked at everyone like, of course, this is schlock. This was schlock. It was like Land of the Lost, the feature. You know, this was schlock when I was a kid. Now it's more schlock. Came out, died 1,000 deaths. Of course it would in modern times.
We all talk to our car
We
now.
did a really good pilot called American Top Gear pilot, and then there was like, no more car shows. We can't do it. And it's like, this is not that, and that's how they do it.
I don't think it's anything to do with him being handsome. How many? You guys remember Sam Worthington? He starred in the most famous, or excuse me, the most successful film of all time, Avatar. What has he done since? I mean, Avatar 2.
I don't know.
He's headlined the most successful movie ever. And he's a handsome bastard, and we barely remember his name.
Well, I hate to. But like, it might be because he's filming an Avatar right now, and films it for years.
For
you think
14 years.
You know what I mean? I mean, it might be that they're like, you can be the Avatar person, but you can. It's like getting a commercial, like being the progressive girl, Flo, right? I think that Adam Carolla is one of my favorite people. I think that Ryan Reynolds. Kate thinks he hates. Kate thinks he's super frenemy with me, or even just that he hates me. I could see him hating me. But I said on Hot Ones, I went on Hot Ones, and I said that, what was great about Deadpool is they covered up his handsome face because he's so distracting. He must know this, but it's so distracting to look at him, and guys don't want to laugh at him because he looks like the guy that fucked your high school girlfriend. And then girls don't really want to laugh at him. They just think he's cute, so they'll just look at him. Like Ryan Gosling. Girls don't care if he is talking or acting.
Accurate.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So I think, but he's such a good comedian that when you cover his face, he's so quick, he's so funny. So I love him as a comedian. But I think after he got super, super famous from the first Deadpool, then things kind of changed. I think he was like, see, you guys see. And then I think I don't know. I mean, would I work with him again? No.
No.
I would not work with him
that
again.
much vitriol.
But I've said that about Michael Bay, and now we're friends, and I would work with him again. But I think Michael Bay is different. And Michael Bay worked on a movie with Ryan Reynolds also. And so he has a very specific opinion.
That may mirror
of
your
Ryan
own.
Reynolds. And that was a good part of our last conversation with me and Bay. But I sort of wish him well because he's so good at Deadpool. And I think it's weird that he hates me. And I think some people.
Do you know he hates
We
you?
had a really weird moment on Deadpool where he said, let's do one more take. And everyone was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then as the character, he was like horrifically mean to me. But to me.
Cathartic.
as if I'm Weasel.
Right.
So he was like, you know what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star, but you just, you do just enough exposition that it's funny, and then we can leave and get back to the real movie.
So he's riffing.
Well, he's
here.
right.
Obviously.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's exactly why he said that.
How much riffing?
Because I'm not funnier than he is at all. Right?
much
and I haven't been in more movies than him. Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
agitate the guest, Brian. How much riffing was done?
A lot. And he's a great improviser.
And how much of it made the cut?
A lot of it. And then the stuff that they kept and you see in the reel, it's a lot of it is what he's doing. I'm riffing. Also the writers were so incredible. But that's what's weird about him. And I've met other people that can confirm this. He did that and it was weird. And it doesn't bother me. I mean, just like Ryan, is it Ryan or Brian?
Me.
Yeah.
Brian.
Okay. I always forget.
He's
so
very
forgettable.
Yeah.
Understandable.
And so, as Ryan was saying,
Son of a bitch.
so,
But what went south in that moment? Did you react to it?
I just kind of listened and thought it was weird. And then I got off stage because then they finally were like, cut. And then I got off stage and I walked over and the whole crew was acting weird. And then I went up to Kate and I was like, that was weird, right? And she was like, of course it was fucking weird. It was insane. It was insane. And everybody was looking at each other like, what the fuck is he doing? And so that was not a great experience for me. And a couple of people, for the most part, when I do a film or on a television set, the crew really enjoys me because I'm nice to everybody and I'm also funny. And after a take, everybody starts laughing once they cut. And I sort of laugh and enjoy and talk to everybody. And I'm just not sure every, movie star does that.
But
and
how was that a breaking point for your relationship?
Because why would he do that? And why do I want to work with somebody?
He did it, but did you call him out or did you have a
No,
discussion
what
with
would
him?
be the use of that?
And it would be so easy to deny. Like, I don't know, I'm just trying something new.
I'm not talking. Yeah, that's why he did it like that.
But you felt it coming from him.
Everybody did. That's why it was awkward. Everybody was like, why is Ryan doing this? And the other weird thing is like, maybe he got, I think he's kind of an insecure dude. He's really nice, but I mean, his Twitter bio is showing you the parts of me that tested the best in focus groups. And I'm not sure that he's joking. I think that might actually be his real sentiment there. But again, he's so funny and he did this movie and he's worked so hard to get this movie made and it's people's favorite movie. I mean, it's a get a tattoo of it level movie.
It's really, it's got a lot of great stuff, but it's that stuff with you and he in the bar. It's just the best. And it's some of the funniest stuff ever filmed.
Yeah. And so I think that maybe there was some part of him that frustrated him. I can't begin to guess what his deal is.
That you were getting as many, maybe more accolades from the movie?
Yeah, I think there's some of that, which doesn't make any sense to me because I love when other people get laughs. I think it's great when the two of you get laughs. No one else really on the show does.
Really hurtful.
But
Ryan doesn't.
Ryan never does. And
Yeah,
Crying Ryan, that's what they used to call him.
Ryan Ryan.
Would you think that he would know there was a rift with you guys?
I think so, or he's so deluded that he's like, everybody loves me. Everybody likes me. So TJ probably just wishes that he could work with me again. Bay's like that too, though. Wahlberg talked to me about that, who Bay would never understand why you wouldn't want to work with him.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't make sense. Everybody wants to work with him. And that's also kind of true. So I think some people aren't totally self-aware. But I wouldn't, other places have been like, are you in Deadpool 3? What's the deal? Can you talk about it? And it's like, I would not have done Deadpool 3 if they came to me and they were like, we want you to do Deadpool 3 and we're going to pay you twice as much.
Over that one incident?
It's that. There's that certainly component. But really the real reason is the same reason I left Silicon Valley, which is I don't really think you should do something for more than 5 years. I think it's weird to just go back and play Weasel at 10 years later or something like that.
He's been doing Avatar for 14 years.
I know, exactly. Here we go, Ryan, again with these Avatar references. Yikes. Can we get another Avatar for you?
Do you think, how much of this, you tell me, Then we'll be done with Ryan Reynolds. His wife is
Blake Lively.
Yes. Is there a component where you have this much douche and that much douche, and then we create 3 douches out of the 2 douches?
Together, we're just a little douche, or separately.
Yeah,
but
versus
together, we're mega
marrying
douche.
the civilian. Or I don't know. I don't know what her vibe is. I never seem to hear her interviewed very much.
Likeable is her vibe.
Likeable. Well, and on there,
Wait, I don't know. Do you know?
I had occasion to, I only met her once, but I had occasion to look at her pregnancy pictures that she showed so that the paparazzi would go away. And I think both of them, their public image is very well curated. That's really all I know to say about that.
Let me change. Because you said that the brand is likable.
Yeah, the brand is likable. I mean, I don't wish them any ill will. I think he should make a Deadpool 3 and continue to make movies. I just think he doesn't like me, and I thought it was weird how he expressed that. Because I'm at a place in my life where I don't need to do Deadpool 3 to possibly keep, and I don't think I left Silicon Valley because I was like, no one's favorite season of a television show is season 7. No one is like Breaking Bad for me. Best season was season 8. It's just, it's not true. And so I also think the danger of doing a third, that was the other thing. And when I tell people this, they're like, what are you talking about? And then when I sort of explain it, they go, oh. I think when you do a third installment of a movie, it can completely ruin the first movie.
The first movie.
What I say to everybody is, why don't more people say, oh, the funniest movie I've ever seen is Hangover? Because Hangover 3 ruined it. All of us saw Hangover 3 and we're like, I hate you. I hate you guys for doing this. I feel dirty. You clearly just took my money. Solely the franchise. And then I say also, when has there ever been a third great movie?
Jaws.
Sort of.
No.
But I mean, really think about it. And the only person.
Godfather didn't know.
No,
1 and
but
2
everyone
were great.
hated-
3 was
everyone
whatever.
hated
Yeah,
Marvel
you're right.
movies have kind of wiped that out.
You're right.
But I know what you mean.
I think the problem.
No, but Marvel movie, none of those are. They didn't do a Captain America 3.
Sure.
I think the problem with optics are everyone thinks
It's
you
Return of the
wanted
Jedi,
to
by the way.
do
That's the
you
only
want to
one.
do whatever as long as you can
Lord
possibly
of the Rings
do
won
it.
25 Oscars.
And they don't get the part. Even when I quit the Man Show, they go, "Oh, but you wanted to do it doesn't." Comport with anyone's version of Hollywood, because Hollywood is always money, 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 milk it, money. So if you just go, I just walked away after season, whatever, they go, you mean you got fired?
Bullshit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like we can't. Trevor Noah's like, I walked away from the Daily Show. He got fired. You know, we just. It doesn't work that way when you work at a fucking muffler shop. Like Hank quit the Mighty Muffler.
7
He
years.
was let go.
He was let go for not muffling enough.
Yes.
He did more shuffling than muffling. I think you're a maverick in that way, but I think you're absolutely right. We must have talked about this. But when I quit Silicon Valley, they were so great. HBO was so great because they said, well, we wanted you to do like 3 episodes out of 10. Would you like to do that? Or you could do 4 episodes or something. And I was like, I really think this is the right time to leave. And I think it's so funny for Ehrlich to be stuck in an opium den for the rest of time. And it just did not compute with them. It didn't compute because what I tell everybody about this is the vibe was, what? But don't you want to buy a boat?
Right.
Like, don't you want a boat? And I'm kind of going, no, I want to be a Manhattan stand-up comic and live with my very cool wife in New York City. That's what I want. Not to like sleepwalk through 2 more years of this thing and have maybe people be like, Ehrlich used to be really funny, but like those last 2 seasons, he wasn't good anymore. Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sully my performance on that. I don't want to fuck up the show. Those are the 2 things. But I left, and of course everyone is like, well, yeah, did he really leave or they let him go? I heard he's really crazy. He
A
insulted
Miller-ectomy, like a Carolla-ectomy.
Yeah, that's what they said.
But we've both had that experience, and you're the type of guy who will leave something because I don't think there's any part of you that's like, I don't know what I'd be without this thing.
Well, okay, couple things. First
Except
off,
for cars.
I did 100 episodes of The Man Show.
It's a lot of episodes.
It's a lot of episodes. So Jimmy and I just looked at each other and went, 100. We did 100. We said what we wanted to say. And so, number one. Number two, whenever they're talking about bad jobs, like when you have those people, like when you're talking about some family member that had that fucking shitty job where he just worked at the Baldwin Locomotive Factory in South Philly for 53 years. Yeah, Baldwin Locomotive was like the big industry in Philly when my dad, got out of high school, and like all the losers would just go to work for Baldwin Locomotive, and then you'd be there for 49 years, and you'd get your watch, and you'd go home and die. And so, like, everyone went like, oh, part of a shit job is the pay and the perks, but the other part is just going to the same place for 50 years. And when you look at people who are living your Elon Musk type of life, like, oh, 1 minute he's building a Tesla, then he's building a rocket, then he's buying Twitter, it's like this crazy variety. So you have to realize that pay is pretty good and perks are pretty good, but showing up to the same place your whole life is not. My grandmother worked for the VA in Westwood for 40 years. She hated it. She didn't get the pay and she didn't get the perks, and she had to go to the same place like every day. And so in terms of a job, the variety within the job, doing stand-up, doing a feature, doing a film, doing
radio.
a podcast,
Radio
doing
is
radio,
always different.
writing
Every
a book,
single-
like
right.
whatever that thing is, it's the variety part.
You tell that to Vanna White.
Right. And I think you would look at her as sort of now it'd be a little condescending. You'd go like, well, what else was she going to do? Was she going to write a movie about Christmas with Michael Bay? I don't think so. You look at her as kind of sad in a weird way. Like she had to just go to the same place and we could watch her age. Like there were like flip cards of a tree
boy.
dying.
Jesus.
And I love her dearly. She's a dear friend. No, I just mean
the
we just
teeth get whiter.
We just watch you fall, essentially decompose since 1987. All right, that sounds like, or you can go to Pat Sajak and you can go. It's gainful employment at a high margin for tax wise, but. You're not bored of standing in the same place and doing the same thing and watching Vanna age?
And my father-in-law, he watches Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy every single night. It's like that's what he does while he's drinking and making food. And that's his deal, man. Salmon and fucking Riesling nonstop. And so he loves it. And so to a certain extent, I'm like Sajak and White, which is, that's the name of their band also. Yeah. They're doing something that is so important to so many people. So maybe you get a sense of that a little bit.
Well, let me compliment you and make up for Brian.
Please.
Is it Brian?
I don't think that Vanna White wanted to go out and test the open waters. I don't think she wanted to say, you know what? I've done this for 7 years. Now I'm going to go out and hang my own shingle somewhere. Yeah. I think she understood she had to hang on. I have a feeling with people like you, and I won't mention myself.
And people like you,
I'll
I was just about
mention
to say
Trevor
that.
Noah, and people like that. They go, you know what? I think I have enough in the talent tank to walk away from a franchise and go do something else.
It's a big deal to be a stand-up also. That's really, really a big part of what makes us be able to do that, because we always know we can do stand-up. Trevor Noah's like that. And so I think that's why I was so excited about stand-up and doing acting, because every single audition that I would go into, I had nothing to lose. There's no part of me that's like, I got to get this part. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to make rent. It just wasn't a part of my reality. And I think that really helped. And I actually think this is kind of why this movie is probably going to be the deal, is that, now all the auditions are over Zoom.
Oh, right.
Or you self-tape. Oh. And I always got hired because I'm good in the room, because I'm used to live comedy. And so I'm doing a little performance. But when I do the tape of it, it's just so flat. And that's why we said, all right, we're going to pitch this thing. And my agents were like, well, why don't you just do it over Zoom? Because you live in New York. And I was like, I didn't say this to her, but I wanted to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you insane? We have a movie that we're pitching. We need $200 million. It could make $1 billion. And you want us to kind of do that over the computer?
Well, the jet
in our
blue
living
flight's
room?
$700.
Yeah,
so.
who could afford it?
Yeah, no,
I was like, this
I
is
agree.
that big. You got to go and be in the room.
I first recognized you when you auditioned for Yogi and
bear.
Boo Boo with an actual bear.
Brian knows what we're talking
And
about.
I was like,
right.
this guy is committed.
baby.
He is pot committed. All right, let me hit concrete here. Your body makes half the creatine it needs. The other half comes from your diet, but most American diets are low in creatine-rich foods, and that's where concrete comes in. Patented creatine, HCl, favorite creatine of elite, well-informed athletes. It's the number one bioavailable creatine. It's the only microdose in creatine. Just one small scoop per 100 pounds. Shake it up. It comes with a little scooper. It's got a nice lemony flavor, and you feel the energy immediately.
That's true. I've had that experience.
It is 100% true with concrete. Dr. Drew swears by this as well. Creatine is required for functional energy, and every cell in your brain uses about 20% of the creatine in your body. So if you want to be sharp and fast, you get yourself some concrete, right, Dawson?
Take control of your health, both body and mind. Take control of your health, both body and mind. Build a better you with Concrete. Register now at con-crete.com/podcast. That's con-cret.com/podcast for a chance to win a $500 Walmart Visa gift card, available now online and in-store Walmart. Concrete is truly life-changing and performance-enhancing.
All right, TJ's
I'm
going
so excited for Everything Reminds Me of Something. And I think that's one of the greatest titles for a book I've ever heard, and it is so perfectly you.
Oh, thanks. We'll give you that.
Isn't it?
We'll
That's
give you
exactly Adam Carolla is Everything Reminds Me of Something.
Crystallized.
Well, we got a book in the other room, so we'll give it to you.
Yeah, that would be
if you
great.
like. I'd
Can you
appreciate
sign
it.
one for Kate?
Yes. I love
That's a big deal. No, I'm serious. She's got a couple of books from people that she really respects and loves. She thinks you're hilarious.
Oh, well, I'd be more than happy to.
And so she has, you'll join the likes of the Winklevoss twins.
Oh, boy.
Flavor Flav.
Oh, my.
And that's it. She doesn't really respect that many people.
Rarefied air.
She's not that big of a fan of most people that I work with.
A lot of. What I love about the Winklevoss twins is, I don't know, they sued, and I don't know, what they get $100 million or something.
Yeah, $40 million.
Or whatever it is, whatever that was for their 10 minutes worth of work, they feel like they got jobbed royally, which I just love the way
They got a
humans can
grudge.
do that.
I have to tell you, we're friends with them, and they did get fucked.
Oh, yeah. But
now look at them. They're Bitcoin billionaires.
Yeah.
And they have
landed
the
on their
Gemini.
feet.
They landed on the moon. They landed on their feet on the moon. I also found out from Kate, do you have this experience at all? I found out from Kate that she didn't like my HBO special. And I didn't know that for the longest time. She just didn't mention it. But she thinks it kind of sucks. Isn't that crazy?
That's
true. I've had that experience. Hey, you cut it out in the booth, God damn it.
Maybe she was just talking with Brian. I don't know.
That was Ryan over there doing that.
What?
All right, hold on. We got
Not even in the booth.
We got
a tube Ryo.
We got a break. We got to do some news, and we'll do that right after this.
News with Grad, news with Gino Grad, breaking viral, weird crime, protest, politics. Give me news with Gino Grad, stuff they saw on TMZ. Joe Biden, Kamala, beat news with Gino Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, Herschel Walker's son has some things to say about Dad. A woman says ex-NFL star and pro-life Senate candidate Herschel Walker paid for her abortion back in 2009, which Walker calls a flat-out lie. But Walker's son has now gotten involved. So the unidentified woman in the Daily Beast story claims she has a receipt, an actual receipt from the abortion clinic.
Is he denying that's the son?
No, this is the son weighing in on that, which has nothing to do with each other.
Oh, okay.
He's not her son. He's Herschel's son.
Okay, because I could tell by his traps.
Oh, I see.
I see Herschel's one of those dudes who's got traps.
Oh.
I don't know what happened to traps. They used to be a big thing. But he was like a brick shit house with those crazy traps.
Understood.
So this is his son.
This is Herschel's son. He said, or the woman said, I have the receipt from the clinic, a signed check from Walker, and a get well card from him after the procedure.
That's a trifecta. That's why I never send the card.
Don't send the card.
Because 2 out of 3, well, it is bad.
I Venmo the money, number one.
Yeah.
I go with the paperless receipt.
But you don't put a little baby
my
and a line
sympathies.
through it in the
No.
Venmo. You just put like a,
No.
Just a card.
I've been to a
Keep it
lot of
generic.
Hallmark stores. I've never seen that one, but this is why I don't leave a trail
That's smart.
with greeting cards.
So now Herschel's son Christian has some thoughts about his father. He tweeted, first, I know my mom and I would really appreciate it if my father, Herschel Walker, stopped lying and making a mockery of us. You're not a family man when you left us to bang a bunch of women, threatened to kill us, and had us move over 6 times in 6 months running from your violence. Then he put some of his thoughts into a video. Here's a part of it.
That he took
I
in
stayed
a
silent as the
empty.
atrocities committed against my mom were downplayed. I stayed silent when it came out that my father, Herschel Walker, had all these random kids across the country, none of whom he raised. And you know my favorite issue to talk about is father absence. Surprise, because it affected me. That's why I talk about it all the time, because it affected me. Family values, people. He has 4 kids, 4 different women, wasn't in the house raising one of them. He was out having sex with other women. Do you care about family values? I was silent, lie after lie after lie. The abortion card drops yesterday. It's literally his handwriting in the card. They say they have receipts, whatever. He gets on Twitter. He lies about it. Okay, I'm done. Done. Everything has been a lie.
Jesus Christ.
He does a lot of the touching different fingers to make points and to tell you how many things.
I tend to believe him. He was just animated
He was
enough.
touching those fingers.
And he touched those
It
fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, with which that much palm to palm contact, the truth is out there.
Yeah. He
doesn't seem like a drama queen at all.
Is he gay?
That's why I was just sort of.
How could one tell?
Well, one has
He might be
inklings.
non-binary and he just has sex with
I
men.
thought he had a gay son.
He had a
a lot of
flourish
sons.
about him, I think.
He what?
I think he had a flourish about him.
Yeah. I don't know if he's gay or not.
I don't either.
God, that guy's got a crazy genetic hand. I mean, it's this crazy physique and these piercing blue eyes.
Yeah, he does.
Wait, Herschel or the kid?
The kid.
I was going to
kid.
say, Herschel has blue eyes? Yeah,
no,
this kid's-
Herschel has a genetic hand
It's
that's
very,
insane.
but
No,
there
his
was a
son's
lot of
gorgeous.
this to it, and that doesn't help it sound any more true or real, okay? I'm over it. I'm done. I'm out. I don't have any flatware or anything in my kitchen. It's an empty, barren kitchen, okay? Mother Hubbard's not even allowed in here. It's all lies that IKEA tells you. That's it.
I assume my kids will make some videos that are of the same ilk. I won't say verbatim, but I mean,
because they can't find the greeting cards.
That's right.
yeah,
You don't leave that
I didn't
trail.
leave a trail.
You're smart.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, if this kid, I'm inclined to believe this child.
I'm inclined to believe
For
it too.
sure. Can we talk about another football player? Can we please talk about the latest antics of Antonio Brown?
What did he do?
Oh,
really?
You watched TMZ? Oh, you were in Zion. Okay, so he was reportedly caught exposing himself and acting crazy at a pool in Dubai. And there's a video of it. It was shared by the New York Post. Actually, let's just watch the video
Probably
first.
got
and
paid
you can
to
put
go
it,
out there. You were in Zion, Indiana.
Put the sound on.
Yeah.
So go ahead and put the sound on if you have it.
That's where my hot sauce is.
Okay.
He's
showing his butt to this girl. He's totally naked in the pool. She's kind of laughing it off. They're all people out there egging him on. He's snapping stuff on her. He picks her up.
This is former NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown.
Throws her down in the pool. But wait, the piece de resistance is coming.
She doesn't know him.
No. She gets away and check out that it was quick and it was pixelated, but just what seems like, to his credit, a massive schlong.
Oh, yeah.
Showing the ladies.
You think that's big?
Or he has really small hands.
You think that's big? Then you'll think my dick is really small. You think that's big?
So the woman was pissed. She was found later, like screaming about it in the hotel. And as we know, he's known for antics. Didn't he famously quit the Bucks in the middle of a game?
That did happen.
Yeah, he did. He did
Among
a bunch
other
of.
things.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's suffering from something mental.
Yes. He removed a portion of his uniform and danced off the field, shirtless and
Right.
What
Yeah.
would be 2-degree weather?
Yeah, there's something when you're crazy and you have a great physique, it leads to trouble because when you get angry, fat guys don't immediately take their shirt off when they get angry, but guys with no waist and a six-pack, the shirt somehow that's what happens. Yeah. So his shirt and pads come off, and everyone. It's weird. It's a kind of a version of like I've always said, if you can dance, all is forgiven. So. Like when it said, Michael Jackson, like, oh, he molested all those kids. Yeah, but that guy could move.
Yeah.
Or they go, Chris Brown, what he did to Rihanna was a crime again. Yeah, but that dude can move. Like they do that. And so the
better you dance, the more they don't
Also,
care,
if you go nuts and you look amazing with your shirt off, so it'd be like, that guy quit in the middle of a Tampa game. He had a complete... He looks good, though.
I know, did you see that?
Real good.
We do.
See
You
the
have
length
to,
of that?
you have to stop in the middle and talk
Give
about...
credit where credit is
how
due.
good his physique looked or how big his hog was. So
His hog.
It's not a bad strategy if you're him, but he's clearly nuts. The thing that's interesting about men and women is men get angry in the moment. So if the dude is in the pool and you're fucking with him with your huge black dick, guys are like, dude, back off. I'll fuck you up. Whatever. I'm a brown belt and whatever. Women are trained to kind of laugh during the time.
It's a survival technique.
And then they go back to the hotel room and they go into a blind rage.
There's a reason for that.
Yes.
Because you're not going to out strength Antonio Brown. You have to go, oh, you, and then deal with it later.
Yeah, but I would argue that there's a version in the middle where you go, hey, you cross the line. Like, get away from me. I'm going to go talk to somebody about it. There's a thing where a rage builds up because you then replay it, you relive it, you feel victimized, and then pow. She got angrier as she got further away from the pool.
I think that not everybody feels like she didn't necessarily feel like she could be like, hey, quit, don't do that. And then there's always the weird thing that like if she knows who she is, maybe the beginning of that is like fun.
Yeah.
It's like whoa.
He's a celebrity, we're joking around, but then shit takes a turn.
She knows who he is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
She knows him. So you don't have any idea, but you shouldn't really be showing your hog to women that you don't know.
Yeah. Also,
thank you so much.
I thought Dubai had
Brendan,
more rules.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. Didn't we do a story years ago where a couple was on vacation there and kissed on the beach and got arrested? So what's up with Antonio Brown?
Christian Walker describes himself online as queer and conservative.
Queer and conservative?
Queer-servative.
Queer conservative. The good news is
that's true. I've had that experience.
There are, if you're an athlete or karate, champion or washed up in whatever your field of endeavor is, or even a Lindsay Lohan place. There are plenty of countries that have money that would be more than happy for you to come over and hang out.
I think that's what I was going to say. I think he definitely got paid to go there.
I don't know if you're planning your future. We don't really have porn to fall back on or Playboy spread, but we might have Dubai.
I think so.
You could definitely show up at some point in your 60s and just kind of go, I've been exiled. Ryan Reynolds pretty much, him and Bay said no more working in Hollywood, but I can come here for a few bucks and hang out.
But I'm huge at the Dubai Mall.
Yeah.
I could be a mall Santa Claus because of my Christmas movies.
Yeah.
That's right. Some Randy Chic.
All right, let's do one more.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you said that because there is another scandal. We talked about the chest, the possible anal beads. By the way, I just want to throw this in. We talked about this chest scandal, and the rumor going around was that a guy had like Morse code anal beads, which was telling him what to do.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
Not by another person, by an algorithm on a computer. Because remember, we were saying, well, who's smarter than the best chess master in the world?
We said that he didn't play the chess grand champion, I think, when we were doing the news. But I think he did beat the guy.
Yeah.
The guy refuses to
Yeah,
play
what
again.
Gina's saying, the question was, why isn't the guy telling him what to do playing?
The guy, the man behind the curtain,
it's-
aka
Right,
Pewter,
right. I'm
not
just
a-
backtracking.
Yes.
But anyway,
Well, let's
yeah.
talk about this news scandal. It has hit the world of fishing. Jacob Runyon,
yeah.
oh my God, and Chase Kaminsky were competing in the championship event at the Lake Erie Walleye Trail Tournament on Friday in Cleveland, and the tournament judge, Jason Fisher, estimated that the 5 fish in question should have weighed about 20 pounds, but they weighed 34 pounds, and something was a little sus. Fisher suspected foul play, cut them open, discovered they were filled with lead balls inside.
There's no sanctity.
No.
Thank you. Here is the moment where that is discovered and the eruption that it causes.
So they were cheating?
Oh, yeah.
Please spell them,
got
Greg.
weights and fit. There we go.
Angry.
We got weights and fish.
Where's the other one?
Oh, they're going to do all the fish.
Yep, that's right.
I heard about this story.
Why did they hold them up so they all hit the ground?
Oh, people are angry.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it honest.
There is no sanctity. That's pretty crazy that they were just like, what's going to
Seriously.
happen?
A couple, all right.
They
few
got
thoughts.
greedy too.
One
They've
is
done half as many.
if you're going to cheat in a marathon, like if the male record for a marathon is 2 hours, 2 hours and 5 minutes is probably 5-6 minutes, probably the marathon. And I'm going to cheat. I'm going to run across the park. I don't want to be there in 81 minutes.
Right.
You know, because people are going to go, you beat the Kenyans
that's
by
that's absolutely
47 minutes. I want to time it so I just beat the first
By a
Kenyan,
hair.
not smash the record by
2 hours,
an hour.
3 minutes. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because that's going now. Okay, so
greedy.
you're going to win if you get to 21 pounds. So your job when putting weight into the fish is to go 21 3 ounces, not 34 pounds. Of the only human beings on the planet who can size up a walleye are all there.
Yeah, exactly.
They're only on the planet.
Yeah, they've all converged.
You know, it's not like you got my dad and my stepdad going, I don't know, fucking walleye. I don't know, 30 pounds seems right to me. No, this is all these people
They
do.
knew.
Nobody's eye is trained to size up a walleye like these guys. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
They have one mission, and that's to weigh in their mind walleye and size them up. So these guys who've looked at 200 million walleyes hanging from scales they're doing in their head. They're going, it's 19, maybe 20 pounds or whatever.
Yeah, of
34
course.
pounds. So they immediately have to go, well, stop.
That doesn't
This does
sound
not
right.
fit my
Yeah.
super experienced walleye eye. Also, it's also weird that it doesn't happen because it's all done by weight. Everyone has the weights in their tackle box. They're just lead weights. Why not just shove it down the mouth of the walleye? I also kind of wonder, like, come on, this had to be going on some scale somewhere. Like, you have a tackle box with lead weights in it, and this thing that's going to get weighed. Why not
Yeah,
in every
marry it.
fishing
Just right there.
competition ever just do this? But they went for 34 pounds.
They got greedy.
They did. Maybe they weren't able to put it on a scale to see how much, and they said, well, we just got to put enough to get it over that 23.
Oh, I'm being told that the weights were in fish fillets. They used to weigh them down. They
There were
put the weight.
also fish fillets inside there. That's an also.
Oh, but this is all 4 of them had way too much. Had an extra half pound.
Yeah.
An extra pound, and it went from like 20 to 34. So
14.
three pounds plus
Threw
of
some weights,
whatever.
and then they threw in a fillet of walleye into a bass.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they. Oh, they just
extra
stuffed it.
other
They went
fish.
full
They were just
pinata.
like the weight's not enough, so they put other fish
Turducken.
inside the fish.
Turducken style.
That is turducken style, Brian.
See?
So you want to just get enough to
Yeah,
get
just
the
to push you over
win,
the
but
edge.
not to raise the suspicion against the walleye.
Thank you.
I don't know fish
Thank you
weight.
for telling us all how to cheat properly.
I know
Yeah.
sizes of things, and
Yeah.
if someone tells me 13 inches and I'm looking at 7
That's like-
inches, I will tell you.
Look, I recycle all my aluminum cans, but before I crush them, there's at least 10 cigarette butts in every single can. You call it the Michigan push. Everybody does it a little bit, but these people were out of hand.
Dawson's, you've never been more correct in your life.
Yeah,
but don't stuff it with cigarettes because they have virtually no weight. All right. Well, that's what happened. I love that people are outraged.
Yeah.
Pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of motherfuckers flying
It's
around.
outrageous.
Well, people.
It is outrageous that they would put weights in a fish. And like you said, not anticipate that they've seriously weighted this fish.
And the guy who originally posted this on Twitter, I'm quoting him. I don't know if this is true. Apparently, in these competitions, you catch it, you weigh them, and you throw them back. So he's extra pissed because he's saying, now, first of all, they filleted all of them. You can't do that. So that was just cruel. And they were going to throw them back with multiple lead balls inside them, giving them lead poisoning, anything else who eats them. So just fucked up on a lot of levels.
True.
Oh, you think they put the lead balls in them while they're still alive?
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. In general, this guy said they weigh them in general and throw them back in.
Right.
But he would have to go along with the ruse. Be like, well, there's the weight.
Oh, okay.
Toss it back in the pool.
Yeah, look, the sanctity known as the fishing competition, I will have to talk to my young son about.
Yeah, you're going to have to say.
Coach him up.
The country we used to live in and the bass tournaments we used to have.
Have the talk, yeah.
That's right, the fish
Have
talk.
the fish weight talk.
Are you guys familiar with noodling? You know there's a doc on it, Brian.
Oh,
Is it
yeah,
catfish?
Will you reach into the mud and pull out the catfish with your hands?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's badass.
Not,
Gotta see
not
that.
the dominion of the Jew.
No.
Is that something that you would ever do?
No, I have. I'm wired very delicately and uniquely, which is there's plenty of shit I'll do that seems counterintuitive, but then there's plenty of shit I will not do. And noodling is I don't like hunting. I don't like fishing. I don't like the killing of an animal. I don't want to see, the world's biggest accidents and breaks in backyard wrestling or whatever. I don't want any of that video. I'm appalled at all of it.
I get that. Yeah. I
Here's someone catfish noodling.
All right, here we go.
Catfish are fucking disgusting to look at.
Yes.
Delicious to eat.
They just go in and they catch them
By the
with their
mouth,
hands.
yeah.
And
They catch them by, they grab they bite their arm.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right down the pike.
Pull it out.
Yeah. They just pull them out of the river.
And then what do they do with them? Just fill them with
Fill
lead?
them with weights.
and
I
throw
don't
'em
know.
back in? Yeah, exactly. Fill 'em
No,
with weights.
as I once explained to Bear Grylls after he ate a giant banana slug or something on Kimmel's show, no excuses for not going down in your lady in the bedroom anymore.
That's right.
You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
think
You
that's
can't
right.
go too squeamish or I have the smell or I just don't like it. I saw what you ate.
You've tried durian
You pull
fruit.
So
a
it's
30-pound
yeah,
catfish out of a lake with your arm. You can spend a little time
The bar's been
downstairs.
set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have delicate sensibilities. It's not a religious exemption.
I was talking to Greg Fitzsimmons. I was just on his show, and he asked me what is the ideal amount of time to have intercourse, including foreplay. I wondered what you thought about that, Gina, and you too.
I got to tell you, I think people get a little over their skis time-wise. I can tell you as a guy who used to box, I know what 3 minutes feels like, especially when you're being pummeled.
You're being pummeled.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
So you can be empathetic. You're sympathetic.
I'm saying from doing boxing and doing radio, I know what 5 minutes really is. Like in radio, 5 minutes is like commercial breaks. Drew and I would just walk down to the bathroom that was furthest away. We'd go to faraway bathroom because we were bored and we wanted to talk through K-Rock, and we'd stand there and we'd take a piss and he'd go, "Oh, you ate asparagus. God damn it, why didn't you say anything?" And I'm like, this is funny. And then he'd leisurely walk back like, yeah, 5 minutes is all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Go into an MMA fight and spar with someone for 5 minutes. It's a lot of time. So the guys who go like full Sting, 2 hours, what you can get done in 13 minutes is pretty exquisite.
Pretty sizable.
A Kenyan can run 4 miles in 13 minutes. So I would say, I'd say, I don't know what you came down with.
What do you think?
I'll say, well, for the actual intercourse, I'd say 15 will cover it.
I said 17.
Okay, that's
Would be
good.
a healthy portion of it.
Yeah, I'd say that's
Maybe
good.
A little bit of foreplay. If you're doing full foreplay, that's what I said. It should be about 3 hours, 17 minutes.
That's right.
Put in the work up front to
Yeah.
really make
Front load
those
it.
17 minutes count.
That's
What
right.
do you think?
With foreplay, I would say that's the thing though. I'm pretty
Just the sex.
efficient.
Started with just the
okay.
sex.
I think Adam makes a lot of sense when it comes to the pummeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think my number is going to be the same as my husband's number. I'm good with the actual pummeling. 7 minutes,
Especially
8
when you're
minutes.
dealing with that Antonio Brown.
Well, that is
Kinda-
exactly right. You
kinda
know about
hog.
this. You know about the skinny guy.
It's gonna go right through.
Yeah.
So
That kind of hog.
yeah, a little time goes a long way.
Yeah.
To his credit.
What about with foreplay?
That's the thing. I don't think I'm the average lady with that. So you add in the 7 minutes, 9 minutes. No, I'm
keeper.
maybe
You're
truly
getting it
like,
done, but
like
you know.
15 minutes total.
Yeah,
is good.
but
20
that's,
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at pornographic videos; they do that for a living, and 7 minutes is a long.
It's a long time.
It's weird when you see something and it's going to be like 37 minutes or
Oh.
something. Like, what is happening?
And also, much to my husband's chagrin, even though he's a really good sport, I do the thing that I'm sure a lot of guys aren't into. I make a lot of jokes.
During sex?
Yeah. Because I think, because it's fun, like leading up to it, like it's funny, it's fun, like we're
Yeah,
having fun.
I don't think he likes that.
I go
He's
full.
he's a good sport.
I go full Ryan Reynolds. I start beating them up off script. You know what I mean? Really make it uncomfortable.
Give us
I
an
have
example.
never said anything like that at all.
Remind us of what you consider not dirty talk, but like rough talk.
I had a girlfriend who wanted some dirty talk and rough talk, and I felt like this is embarrassing because I felt embarrassed about it. You know,
Makes you a little self-conscious.
I was self-conscious about it, and she kept going, bring it, kind of daddy. And I was like, come on, what do you want me to do? Like, oh, you're a little bitch, and she was like, yeah, but you got to really hurt my feelings, otherwise it's not what she wanted. She don't want me fucking around. She wanted the game face. So I tried a couple times, and she's like, come on, you got to really bring it. And I just said, I don't care for your parents.
That's great.
She was like, she got pissed.
That's so great.
And she was pissed, right?
I don't care for your parents.
I didn't. And she was like, I'm pissed. I'm like, good. Here we go.
Mission accomplished.
Now it's game on. And she's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, hey, baby, this is what you were asking for. And I just cut to the quick. I went right there.
I went further.
I went further.
I went all the way. You said it's game time. Game's over.
Right. Calling you a
Your
minx
parents
is
are
not
not
going to.
enjoyable at dinners.
Who isn't
right.
naughty?
Right.
I love that you say, I don't care for your parents. Instead of I hate your parents or I don't like your parents. I just don't
Mom's
care for your
annoying.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a difficult, as you're having sex with her, I had a difficult time connecting with your father. I think your mother, in some cases, has been underprotective because look
That's
at
right.
you asking me to rough talk your hog head off.
That's right. All right. Let's bring it home, Gina Grant.
You got it.
To
I'm
blast
Gina
your
Grad.
trough with my hog.
That's the news.
White people are dogs.
Gina.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Now a word from our good friend Jordan Harbinger. All right, TJ Miller. I'm going to give some dates for him. He can be found at Tacoma, Washington, Tacoma Comedy Club, Friday and Saturday. Great club, Louisville, Kentucky.
Weekend.
Louisville, Kentucky, October 14th, 15th. TJ Miller does not have a website.com is where you go. San Diego, Mic Drop, October 28th, 29th.
That'll
I'll
be
be
fun.
there doing stand-up. And Vegas coming up, Wise Guys.
That's a great club.
November 2nd, and Helium, and St. Louis, and then Tucson, Rialto Theater, December 15th, and Tempe, Arizona. Just go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. And Unapologetic with Amala can be found at PragerU. So until next time, Adam for TJ and Amala and Ball.
Dear Jonah.
And
check out my special.
Jonah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
On YouTube, Dear Jonah, streaming now. It's only 45 minutes. There's
Very
nothing
funny.
like it. Lightning in a bottle. You got to check it out. Share it if you like it.
And Gina Grant and Bob Ryan saying, Mahala.